tattooing, conspiracy theories, comic books, drinking pickle juice, and 80s music. All coming up on this next episode.
This is a Lazy Teacher Podcast.
Welcome back to the Lazy Teacher Podcast. My name is Brian Pulowski. This is episode 65. My guest today is Joe Wittenberg. He's the owner of Sea Hag Tattoo in Temecula. If you guys have ever noticed my beautiful solar system sleeve, Joe goes by Grizzly Joe in his shop, is the man that did that, and he did a great job. It looks like watercolors. We get into that. He's this amazing artist. Grew up as a musician, has a fine arts degree from San Diego State. He's just this like super intelligent, crazy artistic guy, and he knows so much about everything. We talked, like, I'm seriously wondering how we jumped around to so many topics. We hit comic books, we talked about ultra marathon running, going to Comic-Con, being an artist, how he got a scholarship for fine arts when he went to school all through high school as a musician. Joe's just amazing, very articulate, had a whole bunch of like really cool things to say. I had a great time hanging out with him. If you guys are ever looking for a killer tattoo shop and you're in the area of Riverside County, you have to drop into Temecula and check out Sea Hag Tattoo. You could not meet a nicer guy. And when you walk in this shop, and we get into it in this episode, it's not like your typical shop of, tool chests and dark metal music playing and like skulls everywhere. And it's like, it could be intimidating, if you're like really into tattoos. Maybe that doesn't overwhelm you, but as someone that's possibly looking for a first tattoo or a second, or really just wants like this nice experience to go into and it's not intimidating and you feel welcomed, you got to check out Sea Hag Tattoo. It's in Temecula, California. Ask for Joe. Any of their artists are going to be great, but Joe runs the place. He's the owner, and he's just amazing. So I know you guys are going to enjoy it. We had a great time hanging out together, and it's a long one. So strap in, kids, because this is Grizzly Joe. Okay. So Sean's going to college. So is he not going to be working there?
Nope. Yeah, he's moving to Utah in June.
Really?
Yep.
How many is it bays, or what would you call them? Like spots?
Stations.
Yeah. How many stations do you have?
5, I believe now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow, Joe, you've grown the business.
Yeah, I hired 2 new guys and a piercer. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of those stations is a piercer?
Yep. The back one now.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been good.
Are you guys open 7 days?
Yep, now we are.
Yeah?
Yep.
So who runs it when you're gone?
The new guy, Drew, he's there on Wednesday and Thursday when I'm gone. And then, it's pretty much like I tried to hire like very just honest, good people, so I feel fine that they're there Drew's there by himself today. And
okay.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sean leaving, that's a big loss.
Yeah,
He's been there since early?
Yeah, he's been there since, I think, like maybe the second month we were open. Him and I have worked together for 10 years. This is the third shop that we've been at together.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm like losing my best friend, my like best coworker.
You need a tissue?
Yeah, it's going to be rough.
He's going to Utah or Colorado?
Utah.
Why Utah?
He has family there. His wife's family is there, and she has a pretty severely autistic sister.
Okay.
And they've always known they were going to have to take care of her.
Yeah.
And the mom, she runs a business that helps disabled people get money from the government for certain programs. So they've been going to school, learning how to take that business over.
Okay.
So it's a built-in business. It's very good. They have a house there already. So.
And that's what he's going to work on?
Yep.
Or work doing?
Yep. So it makes sense. It's a great opportunity for them. He just has to give up tattooing, and now he's going to be, pretty much a middleman for the government.
Yikes.
So, yeah.
That's a huge change.
Yep.
That's a huge change.
Yeah. But it's, a big bummer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Mm-hmm. I try not to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, you're losing your best friend.
Yeah. We joke, because I'm like, I have like loved him longer than my son. Like I've known him longer than I've like known my kid. And we've always worked within 15 feet of each other. We make the same schedules. Like we make one day where it's just him and I that work together no matter where we've been. It's so hard in our industry to find people you just gel with nonstop. So it's just, yeah, it'll be a huge loss.
Wow, that's a bummer.
Yeah, because to be in our industry, you have to be like fairly confident, you know, because it's like you can't make a mistake and it's very stressful and just, so if you're very like meek, so then you get all these type A people together and it's always like fist fights and like people stealing each other's clients, where Sean and I have just always gotten along. We've never fought, never had problems.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
It's a tough industry. There's a lot of shops in the area.
Yes. Yeah. So it's very competitive. It's very up and down. Like you make a ton of money one week, then you make no money the next week. And then, you know, then someone comes in and everybody jumps at the person. So then it becomes this like free for all. I mean, not at our shop, but at like shops I've worked at. So
yeah,
that's why just having Sean there was just always like, oh, like, say it was his turn for walk-in, but I was having a bad week, he would just be like, oh, you should take this because like I've done good this week, or vice versa. If I was having a great week and I knew he wasn't doing good, I'd be like, oh, you should take this, and like the next one too.
And that's not very typical.
No. Yeah.
No. A lot of fighting, huh?
Yep.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of turnaround? Because it seems like every time I look, there's a new shop that's opening up in the area.
Yeah, we've had, I think there's a plaza next to us that's gone through 3 shops since we've been there.
Whoa.
And there's like, I think when we opened up, there was maybe 8 shops, and now there's 17, I believe. And then there's now like...
That's just Temecula or Marietta too?
Yep, just Temecula.
Oh, wow.
Because there's also little like individual, like I forget what they're called, but you can just rent a like room pretty much in this larger building, but you're technically your own business. So there's a lot of people that just work in a private studio like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jesus. I don't even get into Temecula much. I know Marietta's got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. There's a lot of like, and it's great because there's so many great shops now. I feel like this area could become a big, like how San Diego is for tattooing. There's certain spots in San Diego that you just know, like, okay, if I go to PB, there's like 3 great shops in this area. If I go downtown, there's this like cluster of great shops. So that's what I'm really hoping with Temecula, Marietta.
Yeah.
Eventually, hopefully, when everyone gets busy enough, then everyone will coalesce. And
It seems like it would make sense. Marietta, Temecula is kind of always associated together. It's like, where do you live? Marietta, Temecula.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, right on, man. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you like first find art? Like, do you remember like at what age? Like, was it the comic books or like what got you into it?
Yeah, just when I was real young. I mean, always was into drawing, and then when I was growing up, skate culture was real big. So I was getting the skate magazines, and that's when you had like Caballero and stuff like that had kind of tattoo images that were coming into it.
Yeah, like the skull, right? That was Caballero for sure.
So I started getting a lot into that, and then just kept going with that, and then I went to a performing arts high school, so it was very like art centered, but I was doing more music at that time. And then from just being in bands, then you start like, you know, doing art for posters and whatnot. And then I went to SDSU for art, and then that's my whole art history.
Yeah. What about the in between for high school? Oh, the high school was it like a magnet school?
Yes. Yeah. So I started in a magnet school in elementary school, one called San Jose Street Elementary. And then from there, they had you pretty much learn one instrument. So I took cello and really liked that. And then they also had art programs and a bunch of awesome stuff. And then I went to another magnet school for junior high in Tarzana, and then on to Simi Valley High School in Simi Valley.
Which is not a magnet school.
No, but it's California accredited, and then it has like a small like performing arts program in it. Okay. I forget what it's called, but it has the like gold star thing. Okay.
So that was all. So it was all music.
Yeah. So I did 0 through 8 period, and I would say 5 of my classes were either music or art. So it was pretty great.
Okay, but SDSU is fine arts, right?
Yeah. So
which
then
is
I went
not
there.
Music.
No, yeah, because then I got a scholarship to SDSU for art, and then I was an English minor at the time too, because I thought maybe I would want to edit because I liked reading a lot, and then just went with the art was better. A little looser and nicer.
Edit writing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I was thinking that I may want to be
I've never met anyone that wanted to edit writing.
Yeah, I actually worked for...
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I did a small like summer internship for I forget what it was called, maybe Black Umbrella, and it edited poetry anthologies. So we would all just sit in a group and read all these entries that came in and decide as a collective what should be entered into these anthologies, and I loved it. Because I just thought,
Wow.
like, you could get paid for reading. But then when I was taking English classes at SDSU, the rejection part of it, because I would see these writers and they would say, oh, I sent all this stuff and like over the summer and I just got rejected. And I just thought like, oh man, like we were sending out rejection letters and just seeing the look on their faces.
Yeah, you're a part of the rejection.
And I thought, I can't do this. Like it was too rough seeing like good friends just be beaten down. And
yikes. Did you have a genre that you wanted to edit in?
I liked poetry a lot. Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Did you read poetry growing up?
Yep.
Like Shel Silverstein kind of poetry?
Yeah, and then a lot of like, I got into kind of like William Blake, Arthur Rimbaud, kind of like the like romantic poets.
Really?
And then because I think it all kind of coalesced from, I got really into like existential literature, like later in high school, probably as most people do. Like I have a giant Dostoevsky portrait on my leg because he was just my favorite writer. And then I got into like, you know, Camus and Kafka and all them. So then
over my head.
So I found this like absurd kind of poetry very interesting, and it seemed to be growing at the time where I was, you know, like late 90s. Like everything, maybe with the grunge music, kind of was becoming a little more experimental and absurd. So it was kind of interesting.
What makes it obscure? I've never read that kind of poetry. I've never read that poetry, period.
Free flow and just kind of, I would say probably drug induced.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, but it was just like the imagery wasn't so much. Like, it wasn't directly talking about things, but it was just like, it would be a poem about a fork, but the fork really represented, like, your existential angst and things like that. So, yeah, it's hard to kind of explain without the examples, but there was, like, one dude that we, in that collective, published a book of his poetry. He would walk a lobster around on a leash, and, like, so it was that kind of stuff where you were, I forget what the movement was called, but it was, like, people would, at the end of Dead End Streets, put balloons on it and make it look like a party or something. Okay.
Look up someone and tell me who it is.
Oh, man. I'm trying to find out what the name was of... Okay.
I didn't read a whole... I mean, I grew up with Shel Silverstein, so maybe that's like the cheesy example of poetry, but I always thought he was great. And, and everyone from 5th grade to even kindergartners kind of get it, and... He always looked mean, though, on the end, the book cover on the back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember what he looks like. He's always bald, and he always had like a scowl on his face.
Oh, man. I'm trying to find who this author was, because they would produce books, too, and the book would be the front and back sandpaper, so that when it was put on a shelf with another book would ruin the book next to it.
So
it's just kind of stuff like that. But,
really?
What is it called? It's going to drive me nuts.
Sandpaper book cover?
Yep.
That's so
so things like that, and they would like, there was a big French movement, and they would hand out maps to tourists, but it would direct them through seedier parts of towns and to restaurants that people didn't go to, so they would have a more genuine experience and things like that, but...
And that all came out in
Situationist. There it is.
All right, let's see it.
So I'm going to find you Situationist poetry.
So that's a genre of poetry?
Yeah, because their whole point was to create these situations that made you feel uncomfortable so that you would analyze your beliefs in things. So like how I was saying with the maps that they would give the tourists, they found that people, you go the same route to work every day and you just come back. So you see the same things every day. So you just, on that drive to work, your brain kind of stops analyzing your surroundings. But if someone told you you had to go this different way, you would be like, whoa, like there's like a little thrift store right there that I've never seen. Maybe I should go check that out. Or like, look, there's like a Mexican restaurant that looks pretty authentic. I'm going to go check that out.
For sure.
So they would try to do these things that just diverted your attention so that you would experience life in a different way, if that makes sense.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. So that's the Situationist.
And that's a genre.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so
does
all poetry doesn't have to rhyme? So is this rhyming poetry?
No, I mean some of it did, and some of it was very. Okay, so here we go. Guide to Bard and some of his poetry. Oh man,
this is going to be good. I can tell it's going to be.
No, it's just so, like it's a guy talking about how he's trying to develop his poetry, and he's saying this is literally his first sentence. In thinking about how to conceptualize eco-poetics, one scheme I've played with groups the field into 8 vectors of attention or compass points.
Whoa.
Yeah. Mud, salt, crystals, rocks, water, southwest by west, mud, salt, crystals, rock, water, west by south, mud, salt, crystals, rock, water, west, mud, salt, crystals, rock, water. So that's his poem.
Oh my goodness. And you were like way into this in high
Yeah,
school?
I mean, it just because, again, I was a very, like, long-haired, angsty teen, so it seemed like just obviously being like covered in tattoos and whatnot, you have a sense of just wanting to kind of subvert what society wants and just be kind of affrontive to it. So I think like with the liking existentialist literature and kind of absurd poetry, it all kind of blended together. And then even the art where, to circle back to, so I had a scholarship to SDSU and I was doing these very large, like on drywall 4x8 paintings of just hands doing sign language. And that was my acceptance, was just this weird, for no reason other than just large scale paintings of hands doing sign language. And they just
were
thought,
they
like,
signing words or letters
nope,
or
nothing at all. And that was the whole point, was to prove that if you took something out of context, made it gigantic with these bright colors behind it and just said it's art, people could find meaning in it. So people would look for meaning in it. And I would just say, like, you would put a different placard by it each time. And I would say, like, oh, this one represents how the deaf culture is screaming out for you to pay attention to them.
Oh, wow.
But then the next one, you could be like, this one represents how the deaf culture does not care what you think and they are just affrontive in your face. So you could take two completely different meanings and slap it on art and just be like, this is art. This is the meaning to it. So again, circling with the situationist thing, you're essentially giving someone a different experience by just putting a placard next to the exact same painting.
Oh.
So that was my little project that got my acceptance to SCSU. And then from there, I just did art.
Did you get the scholarship for art, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go through high school with music, but you get a scholarship in art? How does that even happen?
I was still doing art a lot through high school, and I was taking art classes. I was still like pretty involved in art, but it was just I was still doing, like, I did jazz band in the morning, and I played vibraphone. If you know what that is?
No.
Like, looks kind of like a marimba. It's all steel, but it has a pedal at the bottom, so it can sustain notes for a long time.
Okay.
It has a very like jazzy, like metal-ish sound.
Okay.
And then I did drumline and marching band. Then I had concert band during the day, but then I would have fine art later in the day and.
At that same
all
school?
The same school, yeah. It was great.
That's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to take like all the core subjects still?
Yeah, because I was there from like 6:30 in the morning to about like 4 o'clock every day. So it was a lot of like extra periods.
Is that standard at that school? Or
No, but it's just voluntary. Yeah,
you could do it.
Most of the kids that were into music at that school kind of all like did the same classes together, and you just wanted to do music more often.
Yeah, you just kind of surround yourself with
and then even
like-minded.
after school, we were all in bands together. So it was like nonstop. We're doing music and art, and then for your music, you want like a giant backdrop, so someone has to paint the mural and stuff like that.
So you applied was it on drywall?
Mm-hmm.
Like
it was just pictures of it, though. You just submit for this.
Oh, okay, but you drew it on an actual
full
sheet
painted on these giant like 4x8 pieces of drywall because it was cheap to buy drywall. Because I was looking for giant canvases, and you either have to make your own or buy a 4-foot by 8-foot, canvas, and that's going to be $200. But then I found, just going through Home Depot, I was like, oh, a piece of drywall, $7, and I could just coat that in gesso, same as you would a canvas, and paint on that. Then I made my giant canvas, and then if it I can move it easier. You just put wood behind it.
Though, doesn't it?
But then too, with the whole situation of stuff, art was supposed to be non-permanent, so you don't really care. And if it broke, it's all part of the experience of that piece.
Oh, geez. What would you put on it? Jello?
Oh, gesso. It's
gesso.
Called? Yeah, it's how you coat a canvas so that it gets kind of toothier.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you just paint straight on the like cotton or linen, it'll soak through. And
that makes
really
sense.
Work too well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Did it bind the drywall together if it broke?
Probably not. Yeah.
No. So it would easily flex or break or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made like little kind of like the same as you would on a canvas, just put wood in a rectangle box,
Oh, behind
so it just had some support, with the little cross sections.
Yeah.
But none of the art I even kept. I don't know where it is. I'm sure it got thrown out.
You think you broke it probably right after that?
I'm sure.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you just took pictures and that was your submission? Yep. Is there more to an application, or that's literally all you have to do?
That, and then you have
something?
to still do your like SATs and. Luckily, I had good SAT scores. Bad high school grades, but good SAT. So
Everybody's got bad high school grades. High school sucks.
Yeah, especially that one too. You have a bunch of kids who are into art and music. Like, studying for your core classes isn't going to be like the most.
Priority.
Right. Also a lot of like illicit things. So
Of course.
yeah, staying focused isn't really big. And if you're just like, oh, if I can pass, it's great. And I still got to like play music and do art.
Exactly.
Yeah. So luckily at that time, I think SDSU wasn't as impacted as it is now, where pretty much if you had a 2.0 average, and I think it was at the time on the old SAT grading system above a 1200, it was an acceptance. And then you could
Okay.
apply for scholarships from there.
Interesting. I never took my SAT.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I guess I went to a college that didn't care.
That's awesome.
I think they were just like, wait a minute, you want to come here? Sure.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what I would have got on the
Oh,
SAT.
so you should try now.
I don't know about that. I'm actually going to go back to school. I think I'm going to get my master's
Nice.
in education administration.
Very cool.
Yeah, my pursuit.
Are you going to try to do it online or like at
online?
school?
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't have time to go into a
Yep.
school.
Nice.
So much is done online though.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I think it's fine.
Mhm.
And then from principals that I've talked to, it's pretty much okay to do it online. 'Cause
Right.
It's kind of like on-job training, like the internship part of it.
Yeah.
There's like 1,200 hours. That might be an exaggeration, but it's a lot
Yeah.
of time. But that's fine.
Yeah. And I would assume if you've been teaching for a long time and then it's going to be based more off of your interview with the principal,
I
would
guess
assume,
so.
or a panel.
I
however they do
guess.
it.
I'm a horrible interview.
Yeah. But now you have the podcast, so that's good practice.
I guess. I still get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you interviewed for something?
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah. I can't even remember.
Can you even
yeah.
imagine if you had to interview
Oh,
now?
God, no. Yeah. Because especially now, I've been being my own boss for so long. Like,
Yeah.
I don't ever even have to work, like, monitor how I speech or how I talk, which
Yeah.
is a perfect example, or how I dress or anything, like, or even what I talk about. So
Yeah.
I can imagine even just trying to sit for a long amount of time and not curse or like do something that's horrible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
Do you have to get involved, or do you get involved with like the city for like different businesses? Like, I'm so ignorant to this, but isn't there like the city, not city council, city commerce or whatever, like where like a bunch of businesses in the city get together?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't.
No, you don't.
I probably should. It wouldn't hurt, but yeah, because I know my in-laws, they run a printing business down in San Diego, and they do a lot of those mixers. And it gets
Yeah,
some good business.
exactly.
Right.
That's what I meant. Okay. It's not necessary.
No, yeah. And I've never even been invited to one. I would definitely go because I kind of like those functions in a way. Like I go to all my kids' stuff and like I like being at their school and stuff and like helping in my daughter's kindergarten class.
Yeah.
I find all this stuff like interesting, and this is your one life, so
Yeah.
why not try everything? So it would be cool. Yeah, maybe I'll look into it.
Well, I'm not recommending it. I have no idea. I just didn't know if you own a business, if you're supposed to be active
Yeah.
in the city for that.
Yeah. I guess it'd be good too to know what's going on because they're always like changing the laws and everything.
I bet
and
if
don't
you
wanna-
went, you might be the only shop that's
Oh,
there.
for sure. Yeah.
Get a leg up. Yeah. So how was the scholarship in art
Yeah, it was in illustration. So I was one
based
of the,
on what though?
I think just what I chose. I don't even think there was like,
Really?
yeah, as long as you just did art, and then I wanted to do illustration. So
And
that's
go,
why.
And we're going to give you a scholarship.
Yeah. But also SDSU at that time was way cheaper too. And I worked for the school for, I think it was like 12 hours a week you had to work for them, but I worked a little longer to make more money. Then I worked at a coffee shop too. But yeah, it was, I think, the last class where they even offered illustration because now everything's computer. So there's really no point for
I didn't even
illustrators
think about
anymore.
that. Yeah, right?
Yeah, because this was when, like, you know, cartoons were still drawn by hand and
Yes.
most advertisements were still drawn by hand, where even now I do everything on my iPad. I can't even recall the last time I put pen to paper to draw.
No kidding?
Mhm. Yeah. But so, yeah, I guess it wasn't a full, or
Wow.
not a scholarship in that
I
sense.
know,
'Cause I still
but-
had to work for the school.
I know
so.
4 years ago you did, because I'm pretty sure you hand drew mine.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching you do
Oh, yeah.
it.
And like huge sheets of tracing paper.
Yeah.
The iPad is, once they came out with that pencil for the iPad, it changed everything.
Is it super responsive?
Yep.
It would
That's what-
have to be.
Yeah, because that was the thing before. They had these styluses, but they were very chunky and just didn't follow lines really well. And now
Right.
the pencil is spot on, and they have apps like Procreate, which are amazing for art. And it's just, now it's like carrying around like a set of oil paints and watercolors, every pencil, every pen. And
No
then you
kidding.
can buy pens and all this stuff. And there's always people coming out with like, there's packs for tattooing just for this Procreate app. And it's amazing. Yeah.
I'm going to have to look into it. My daughter's she's getting into it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Really?
Yeah, because even my little 5-year-old, she has, like, we have another iPad with Procreate, and she just draws with her finger on it, and it's great because you can change colors, and then we print them out, and yeah, it's awesome. She does amazing stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I'll show you a little.
Yeah, I'd love to see
She
it.
drew me the other day while we were sitting there in a suit for some reason, which I think is her hinting that I should dress a little better.
That's just how she sees Daddy.
Yeah.
Mr.
'Cause I was like,
Professional.
weird, a suit. Yeah. So that's on my iPad while we were just kind of killing time.
And that's with Procreate?
Yep. She wanted me to put my business card next to it because she got the logo on the hat so you could see how close they were.
It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, for a 5-year-old.
No, that's really good. She nailed the beard.
Yeah.
Nailed the beard.
Yep. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had kind of like tablets at our school. They're better now, but they'd have this stylus, but like it lagged.
Right.
So you'd move your, the pen, and then half a second later, and that's just enough to throw it off. And you're
Yep.
like, fuck it, I cannot do this.
Right. Especially, did it like frustrate the kids too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I could see that.
Yeah, especially if they were trying to demonstrate something on the class, so it's being projected. And
Right.
the delay wasn't in the projection or getting to the projector; it was definitely in the software.
Right.
And
Man, it is amazing the technology in the classes now.
yeah,
I haven't, because the school my kids were at before wasn't very technologically advanced, and now the school that they're at now, like, they have their projectors, and like Liam, my son, has like his own Chromebook at school.
Yeah.
And just all this stuff. It's amazing.
are they 1-to-1? Meaning, does every student have
Yep.
their own? Does he get to bring it home?
I don't know. He's never brought it home, but
Okay.
maybe not.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe his. So maybe his class has Chromebooks, and then they just pull them out every
Yeah, it
every
seems
day.
so. And I know he can, I think, get into it from a different computer because he was doing his project and he was on my computer and I think he was accessing something. He knows more about that stuff than I do. It's amazing.
Yeah, they might be using, well, if they're using Chromebooks, that's what this is. They're likely using part of the Google Suite, which
Okay.
has, drawing, docs, spreadsheet, all that stuff. What was
Nice.
his project on?
Lines. He just has
Lines?
to, yeah, it's a very open-ended. His teacher is awesome and kind of like hippie-ish with a lot of stuff. So she's
I
just
love
like,
this.
here's a project, just pick an animal that you want to study them and just describe like their habitat and all that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she's been letting them be very creative. Like at the student teacher conference we sat, or I mean
Parent teacher.
where you meet with them individually, whatever that's called.
Yeah, parent teacher
Okay.
conference.
But we wound up like sitting and talking to her for an hour, I think, because she was just so awesome. And just-
Wow.
yeah. we
That's
liked her a
really
lot.
neat.
Yeah. Both my kids' teachers, they're amazing.
What's Liam using for his project? Do you know? Like,
no,
is he?
he's still working on it. Yeah. Right now we're
Well, he's
just
doing it
having
on
him.
lines, but is he typing something? Is he drawing something?
I
Is
think
he
he's
bringing
going to
in
do a mixture
pictures?
of everything. Yeah, right now we've had him watch some documentaries and he took notes. And then yesterday he read a bunch of articles and took notes. So we're just going to kind of get all the notes together. And then we went today and took pictures. He wants to draw a big poster for sure and do like a trifold thing. Then he was talking about building a habitat to bring in. So
Really?
I don't know what he's going to do.
That's super cool.
Yeah, because once he gets going, then he gets really into it. So it's more just like getting him moving.
Yeah. What grade is he in?
Third.
3rd grade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
My son, he's now in 6th grade. When he was in 4th grade, his teacher let him use Minecraft
Oh,
they did a missions project. Do you remember missions?
yes. Yeah.
So that he had to do a missions project, and he built his entire mission on Minecraft.
That is awesome.
And then did a tour, and then did the voiceover of like, now I'm walking into the lobby.
Yep.
This is where they dined, and it was really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Minecraft. Like, I encourage my kids to play it all the time.
Does Liam play?
Yeah, and he'll build like our house, and he figured out a way to build an elevator, and it was amazing because he showed me, he broke apart his house, and there's all the mechanics, and he hid it in the wall, and it was pretty much like you would go up, and then it would kind of backfill behind you, and then when you got to the top, something would come and wreck all the blocks, so you could go back down, and then if you hit a lever, it would backfill behind you, and you could just go
Wow.
up and down, and then I was like, Bud, how'd you do that? And then he broke open the wall and was like, oh, I had to use this block, and then, when you signal this block, it does this. So I just thought,
awesome.
yeah, dude, you could play this 24 hours a day
Yeah.
because you're figuring out problem solving and
Yes.
science. That game's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like Legos, but like you can do anything. It's unlimited
it's
Legos.
amazing.
Yeah, so even my daughter plays it, and they'll like get in a world together. And, yeah.
That's how my son was with it.
Mhm.
Because I guess there is an aspect where you can battle other people, I guess, but
Yeah, survival.
nope,
Yeah.
survival,
Right.
exactly. He was
Yeah.
never in it. He was
Right, yeah.
He always
Both my
played
kids
the
were
creative.
creative, yep.
Yep.
So as a teacher too, because he was super into Minecraft, then that game Fortnite came out, and it just dominated his world.
I know.
Have you guys had like a lot of problems with? I know at school they've even I think said like no more Fortnite dances, and luckily it seems it's going away. But
Yeah, the dancing has kind of gone away. Yes. Kids are obsessed with it.
yeah,
Kids are obsessed with it, and they do it so much, and that's all they talk about is
Yeah.
Fortnite.
yeah,
And I'm looking for some benefit in it. I wish I could find some benefit in it.
yeah,
I have two sons, and both one of my sons, he's obsessed, and
yeah,
obsessed with it.
yeah. When someone's spending all of his money on it, like all the money he got for his birthday, he was just like, guys, get gift cards, guys, get Fortnite, just Fortnite money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now I think he's stopped playing it. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, very happy. It seemed like a lot of his friends kind of quit it too, so
Oh, good.
maybe it just the fad passed through.
I wish because I don't see a whole lot to, I don't know. Like I was fine when they were into Minecraft.
Right.
Like you said, like just do it all,
Yeah.
You want to go do it more? Go do it more.
Right, yeah.
Because there's so much benefit to it, but I don't see a whole lot in Fortnite. Have you ever watched him play it?
I did. That was the only part that I could find interesting in it because I'm very competitive and like I love sports. So
Okay.
it was great kind of watching that. And even when you lose, then it switches to the person that killed you, so
Yeah.
you could see how they're doing. And even as a family, we would all watch and kind of be rooting for people. And,
Okay.
like you want the person that destroyed you to like go out and win. And
Okay.
so that part, but then, after a couple rounds of that, you're just like, this is the same. Like, it's just, you're all running around building stuff and like shooting at each other.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's kind of goofy.
Yeah.
And,
What's your opinion on like the use of weapons or like kids Liam's age or younger playing with weapons? Or do you care?
not really, because
Yeah.
we've like been pretty open with him about everything. And we'll even tell him like, this happens and like school shootings happen. And like, the gun can be useful at times. Because when we used to live in the mountains, like everybody had guns up there and like you could just literally go hiking and shooting, and it's kind of fun. He doesn't like the loud noises. He's very like noise averse, but he's always had a respect for guns, and he's also like very scared about being shot and weapons. So
Interesting.
yeah. So but he knows there's like, game violence versus real violence, but that sometimes they carry over, and yeah.
I don't think one thing leads into the other. Like, do you remember gangster rap when,
Oh, yeah.
when we were younger?
Yep.
And it was like, this gangster rap's
Right.
making kids make bad choices. And they had,
Or like metal prior to that.
had
Yep.
Cop Killer. One of the songs was Cop Killer.
Yep.
I don't think music makes
Yeah.
kids do
Well, they had
anything.
F the Police, and then Cop Killer was
Ice-T?
Ice-T had
Not Ice Cube.
Yeah,
It would've
he
been
had
Ice-T.
his other band where it was kind of that metal rap band.
Body something?
Yeah, Body Count.
Body
Yeah,
Count. Yes.
so they had Cop Killer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think music makes kids do
No,
anything.
yeah.
I think you either have it and you're just like into that music, and I think it maybe ties together, but I don't
yeah.
think it's going to force you. Likewise, I don't think TV or
Right.
movies,
Yeah.
anything. I don't think you can change someone's personality just by an art form,
Right.
music,
Yeah.
picture, anything.
Plus, it's proven because I know, like in the '50s, they were worried about Elvis, and now we look back at that and we're like, that was so wholesome. But they were like, oh, this rock and roll is going to be the end of the world. And
Can't
then,
show his hips.
Yeah, then like the '60s music, all the like peace and love, that's going to be the end of the world. Then disco, then metal, then gangster rap, and yeah, it's just always something.
Yeah. You grew up with grunge, you said?
Yeah, well,
Or
it's a
all
pretty
music?
like big metal head, like in
Oh,
the
yeah?
'80s. So I was born in '77, so like metal, like the hair metal was big when I was a kid. Then
Yeah.
grunge, like I think I was 13 or 14 when Nirvana's album came out. So then
Yeah.
that was just world changer. And then all the gangster rap too.
I still remember where I was when Kurt died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So how old are you?
I was born in 78.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So,
same age.
Yeah, I remember being at high school and just, oh God, people were like,
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
devastated.
Yeah.
We came back from a trip, and I remember coming into my room, and I guess I must have heard it on the radio, and I was like shocked. Like I could not
Yeah.
believe it. Could not believe it.
yeah, especially through like a suicide where, yeah, it just made it like, I guess more impactful. Like all his like words and poetry then became more impactful, but just that like, wow, somebody who had everything that you idolized.
I was
just like
devastated.
couldn't enjoy life that much.
And I know that I'd heard of celebrities or musicians dying before that, but it hit hard with him.
Right.
That such awesome music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So see, he's kind of a surrealist poet because if you look at a lot of the lyrics, like they don't make sense. It's just like jumbled words pretty
Okay.
much. But then when you listen to it enough and the like tone behind the music and just knowing his personality and where you're at in your life, you ascribe some kind of meaning to it.
Okay.
Where, you know, literally like some of his words are just complete nonsense when you break it down. And then people have like different, like my wife and I were listening to it and we were both like, oh, I think the lyrics this, and then realized we don't even know like what the lyrics are, but we were both like, oh, I love this song.
Yeah.
But then we had different versions of the lyrics.
That happens a lot with different songs. Do you remember MTV Unplugged?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember their Unplugged?
Yes.
I still think that's possibly their best performance.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I hate to put the word beautiful on it, but it's so good.
Yes. Oh yeah. It was beautiful, perfect. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I could listen to that one a lot.
I still do. My girl and I recently got back into that album. She, I'm not sure what it was. We heard one song and we're like, oh my God, do you remember that? And we went and pulled it up on Spotify, and I'm pretty sure we stayed up till like, 1, 2 in the morning with some wine and like, just like smiling going, oh yes.
Yeah. My wife and I did the exact same thing where we were listening to a whole bunch of Nirvana. Then we were getting into like Rage Against the Machine.
Okay.
Then a little bit of like Pearl Jam and just all these like 90s, 2000 hits.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were just bringing it back. Because we typically don't agree on music. I think that's a little bit that we can agree on.
That was such a good time, though. Pearl Jam. Oh, my God. That album 10 was amazing.
Yep, all hits.
Stone Temple Pilots. Yeah, we did the same thing. We went through. After Nirvana, it was like, ooh, who else should we pull back on?
Yeah.
Soundgarden, we brought out all the old ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. The Rage Against the Machine was the funniest because we were realizing, like, we're driving the kids to school, listening to it, and being all, like, pumped up. But then we're like, oh, we're both, like, she's 35 and I'm 41, and we're driving, like, our kids in our, like, suburban car to their suburban school.
Listening
we're just
to
like,
Rage.
yeah, but like, oh, this system sucks. Like, being all, like, hyped up. And but then, just realizing, like, oh, we're exactly what this is railing against.
What do your kids listen to?
My son listens to weird stuff that I have no clue what it is. It's kind of like electronic and a little bit of like rap, but I can't stand it. And
I can't either.
Yeah, but then he listens to Native American flute music to go to sleep, and he really likes classic music.
What?
So it's this weird mix of just like he built out of a giant cardboard box in his room a DJ setup, to where even when he hits it, it makes like different sounds because he like taped a maraca under it. And like, so he'll sit there and do the whole like hype thing, and then he'll like kick something so it sounds like a bass drop.
Really?
But then he like has to listen to Native American flute music to go to sleep.
That's great, though.
Yeah.
I swear, if I didn't have my phone recording right now, I would show you that. I listen to that all the time when I go to sleep. I love that.
Yep.
It's
pretty,
all.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, we were joking because I brought in my Alexa to work because our speaker went out. And then I was just like, said like, hey, Alexa, play. And then sorry for anyone listening who has an Alexa.
I know. I changed the name on mine because everyone always does that.
But yeah, then it started at work just playing Native American flute music. And I was like, oh, so this is what you were listening to. I was like, yeah, my son. Like, he digs it. But then my daughter loves like kind of like hardcore music.
Really?
Yeah, because even they did a thing in her kindergarten where it was like, I like to watch, and then it's like, like My Little Pony. And it's like, when I listen to music, I listen to, and her song was Take My Bones Away by this band Baroness, who's like a pretty like metal band.
Okay.
But she just loves she gets like really into it and like bobs her head a little bit.
Where's she
Yeah.
getting exposed to that?
Me, like I like
Okay.
hardcore music mostly,
Yeah.
so she would listen to it in the car, and then she just really latched onto it. But yeah, she always
Sweet.
requests like hardcore.
Really? That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
So like Liam listens to like some EDM?
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not all that bad.
No, some of it's good, but I think it's just like it's so repetitive, and like with like him and I've talked about it because he's wonders why I don't like it, and I tell him like it does a lot of repeating and a lot of like alarmish kind of sounds, and that it just stresses me out to listen to it. And I don't know if it's just
I can see
I've
that.
gotten old or something, but it's just this repeating like like wow wow wow. I'm just like it's like a car alarm or like a police siren, and it
Okay.
just like freaks me out. Where I'm telling him like, oh yeah, it's in the same respect like. You haven't lived 41 years of life, so like these sounds don't like you don't have to wake up to an alarm, and like you haven't had the police sirens going off behind you pulling you over, and you haven't dealt with a baby crying, so these sounds like amp you up and get you excited, where to me they're just like panic panic panic.
Yeah. That's a really good description.
And, well, it's why I think because I always tell them too, like kids just repeat the same thing all the time.
Yes.
So I'll be like, guys, you have to stop. Like you get to say things 2 times in a row. Other than that, then it stresses me out because it's just an alarm sound, and my job is stressful enough, and just you're a parent with 2 kids. Like I'm sure your job's very stressful. So
Yeah.
just hearing that repeating alarm sounds drive me nuts.
What do you listen to at work?
Listen to a lot of 70s rock. It seems to be the thing everyone can agree on.
That is kind of true.
Yeah, because I feel like clients come into or 90s hip hop. That's
Another good
big
one, actually.
Yeah, but I did have one client who very passively, I think, tried to tell me that the music was horrible because I was asking her like, "Oh, what kind of music do you listen to?" And she's like, "Pretty much anything as long as it doesn't say the N-word and denigrate women." I was like, "Oh,
You're like,
should have turned this off."
I should probably turn this off.
So I'm like, it's pretty much every song we're listening to right now.
Yikes. Yeah, 70s. That was a good time for music.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like no one has come in and been like, I hate Led Zeppelin, or like, I hate Creedence Clearwater. Like, everyone kind of likes. Like,
Everyone can kind of agree to that.
yeah. And I think, too, it's in all the movies that you love, like it's in Forrest Gump, and just all these, like, movies that harken back to that time always have the, like, songs
Yeah.
that are in it. So everyone has these good feelings associated with
Yeah.
it.
My guilty pleasure right now is 80s pop.
Listen to a lot of that, too.
Do you?
Yeah, it's another one that, because I think our shop too, we try to make it to where we're not the intimidating, like nothing in our shop. There's not like the walls aren't painted black, not everything's
that's
covered
good.
in skulls.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we want people to come in and feel comfortable. So I think like we have a lot of 80s movies on TV or like 90s movies. Like,
Okay.
a lot of Gremlins has been a big one lately. I'm watching that a lot, and like Dark Crystal, Princess Bride, stuff like that.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's actually a really clever idea.
And then a lot of 80s music. Yeah, because it's something like everyone comes in and then Gremlins is on, everyone knows that movie. And it's just an easy thing. Then everyone talks about like, oh, who's your favorite Gremlin? Or like, you remember this movie when you were a kid? And then,
Yeah,
and then some
absolutely.
people have like never seen The Princess Bride. So then we're like, oh, dude, you got to watch this now. And
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
That's a smart business move.
yeah. And I think it's good because it just like, it attracts good clientele that we want to hang out with too. So then people come to the shop and it's just very comfortable, and it feels less like tattoo-y and more just like a collective feel, I guess, if that makes sense.
Do you have people that come by that aren't even getting
Oh,
work
yeah.
done? Just to
All the time.
Just
Yep.
to hang out.
Yep. Yeah, we had a dude the other day who he travels around, and he is he like leads adventures in Alaska, like people that go up there. He's a tour guide.
Like a guide.
Yeah, and then he went to Vietnam, and then he came back and just like came back to hang out and like catch up. And there's a bunch of people that are like that they'll just come back to town and then come in, stop by for a little while. Like people, yeah, when I opened the shop, I got sent a lot of gifts from people that were just like, oh, congratulations. And I feel another great thing about our shop is just that I think we established good relationships with people.
So where do they hang out? In like the front area?
Mm-hmm.
And just talk to you guys even while you have a customer?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
That probably makes it easier though sometimes. Is it ever like awkward?
There are some people and I get it, like obviously by anyone who's made it this far, like I talk a lot. So it's hard for me when clients don't talk at all. And then I just sit there and, yeah, it's so hard to just be in my head. And so if someone else is there, and that's why I like in our shop that it's an open shop, because even if my client doesn't want to talk, like me and Sean will talk, or like me and Sean's client will talk. And so I think it helps people just even hear conversation going on, so you're not just like staring at the ceiling or something.
It helps pass time, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people come by too a lot just because when you get tattooed, you're kind of breaking that initial trust barrier where someone is permanently altering your skin. Like my wife who owns a hair salon, we talk about this a lot, how people tell us stuff where we're like, I don't even know your last name, but like you're telling me you're like cheating on your wife, or like crazy things that have been happening to you, and just all your secrets, or like what happened to you as a child. But because there's that inherent layer of trust that you're letting someone permanently alter your skin. So I think then it establishes kind of deeper connections with people, so that then, you know, after you've been tattooed like 30 hours, by that point, like, I know all about your childhood growing up, like what's going on in your marriage, like how your kids are doing. And we've even had people where they've gotten tattooed and now like their 18-year-old kids are getting tattooed. Yeah,
really?
Like I literally tattoo someone that I grew up with their mom, but now I'm tattooing their kids who are like 18 to 21.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it's just, there's all these like multiple layers of relationships.
It's pretty intimate.
Yeah.
To get into that, because I'm reflecting back when I was in there. That was like right when I was going through a divorce. So I'm sure I was probably spilling stuff all over you. That like, you know, I just think you just spend time. You're like in close proximity.
Right.
You're, like you said, you're breaking my skin. You're breaking, you know, I can see that's a really good point.
One of the side benefits I love about my job is I love people's stories. So it's just like, when am I going to get to sit and like talk with a dude who does investment banking for 3 hours about like the interesting parts of his job, or like why he wanted to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think people, you know, getting tattoos, especially larger projects, are typically going through something in their life. So it becomes a good like release, and like then they can talk to someone who they feel comfortable with, because like I said, that trust is already there, where you're saying, I'm going to let you permanently alter my body, so you're just unguarded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got a cool story out of spending time in there too. I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Sean was making the like most bitchin' Spider-Man mask.
Oh yeah,
for cosplay, right?
Yep. Yeah, he does a lot of that.
And he was like, it was so intricate. I just remember him spending so much time with like, it almost looked like dental tools.
Yep.
And it was just fine little scratches that he was working on. And he was just so into it. And, it was neat because I do remember talking to him. And so, like you said, it's open, and it was really cool. That's really cool. Is he still into that?
Oh yeah, he. This year we're going to Comic-Con, and he is now the Green Goblin.
Okay.
And it's an amazing mask, and it just, as he talks, like it moves with his face. Like he looks like the Green Goblin from the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he does it all himself, right? 3D prints parts and stuff.
And then he has to like engineer ways. Like maybe when there too, he was like working on, he couldn't get the eye thing in correctly. And so he had to figure out like a way with magnets to get it all to work, and then how to not get it to fog up. So how he could hide little holes in the mask. And then, like you said, he was sitting there with like a single brush, just painting the webbing on there, and it had to raise a little bit. And
exactly.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Exactly. And I think, I don't know if it was in parts or not, but I remember him saying it was in parts. He printed it in parts, and then he has to, is he glue it or?
Yeah, and then he has to sand everything down and then primer it again, then paint it. And yeah, he puts so much work into it. It's incredible.
That's a cool, well, I don't know. It's almost seems like it's more than a hobby, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
His wife's into it too, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She dresses up as the Black Cat, which is
every year, or?
Pretty much.
Okay. Is her costume pretty good?
Yeah, it's great. Because I think Sean helped her with that too. And she sews, so she'll sew Sean's costume stuff, and then he does all the like fine detail painting stuff.
Yeah. Does he go around to different cons, or just just San Diego?
Yep.
He does.
Yeah, we've gone up to like Anaheim a couple times, the LA one. Yeah, pretty much any of the Southern California ones.
Do you wear?
I'm going to this year.
What
I finally conceded to be Electro, but the old Electro who is like very like lightning bolts that come out of his head that are yellow, and it's a green spandex outfit.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to bulk up a little bit for that.
So you'll wear a full mask and everything? And is he going to help you? Is he going to make it for you?
Yep. And then I have a client who I was randomly talking to about it, and he fabricates cosplay stuff. So he's been sending me, he's making the face mask and the gauntlets for it. So
Really?
yeah, it saved me a bunch of work.
That's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is really neat.
Yeah, Kashan's gonna help because it has like lightning bolts that go down the side too. So I was
Okay.
like, oh, I'll just sew it on or heat transfer it on because I found heat transfer vinyl. And then he was like, don't do that while you're wearing it because it's going to melt to you. I was like, oh, smart. Like,
Smart
that's why you're
thinking.
here, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, I'll do it on the ground. And he's like, no, you have to like build a mannequin or something that's close to your body or like find a mannequin and do it on there. So
Why
he
couldn't
knows
you
all
do
these
it
little tricks.
flat?
Because then when the spandex expands, it'll rip.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's why I have Sean there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting because, yeah, I keep having these weird, like, yeah, where I'm just like, well, I'm going to be a 40-year-old dude just dressing up as Electro to go to this weird comic convention. Then it just becomes, again, circling back to that weird existential stuff. Where
Yeah.
like, this is a life. Like, this is so odd.
But you go anyway. So
Yeah.
what's it matter
Right.
if you
And it'll
dress
just
up?
be more fun because,
Yeah.
like, when I go with Sean and he's dressed up as a Green Goblin, I'm pretty much his, like, press manager where I'm like, okay, do you need water? Because everyone's just taking pictures with him and you see like the look on kids' faces and just everyone's having so much fun. So it's just like, you realize like, yeah, that's why Halloween was fun when you were a kid because you're just like going around and like, oh, look at your costume. That's awesome. And like,
Yeah.
I'm Spider-Man. And you're like, I'm a princess. And like, yeah, just why we lose that is just horrible. So that's why these
So do you
conventions
guys
are fun.
go to talk to other fans, or it sounds like, I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
Sean goes dressed like that, it almost sounds like he's what kids are going to
Yeah.
see.
Yep.
And he's fine with that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he probably doesn't have a whole lot of opportunity to like mingle with other people.
Right. Yeah.
He's mainly probably posing and doing
Yep.
all that.
Yeah, but it's fun too because then, like a lot of times, like so he'll go as Green Goblin, and then by the end of the day, you're kind of in this whole group of like spider people. So there'll be like a Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, who's like Spider-Man's original girlfriend, and then there's like all these different iterations of Spider-Man. So then people want pictures with everybody. So like, okay, this time like Spider-Man's going to be holding Gwen Stacy in his arms and the Green Goblin's going to be in the back laughing. So you get to set up all these kind of elaborate scenes and then a bunch of people come and take pictures and then it's just like kind of fun for everyone. And yeah, and then you're like talking to all the other people wearing the costumes and like, how'd you make this? And like, what's your tip on this?
Okay.
But people get so into it. Like people go and train parkour so that they can pose like Spider-Man the best because you don't want to have this perfect Spider-Man costume, but then
And not be able to get
be
into
stretchy and like not be able to do the iconic Spider-Man
No
poses.
kidding.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like now, yeah, I feel like I have to like beef up a little bit more because
Oh, so you were
like,
serious. You're,
oh, yeah.
You're literally going to try and put some weight on
it's like
for it?
impossible for me to gain weight. So it's like now I'm trying to run a lot less, but eat more protein. I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, you run a whole lot.
I run
I
an
imagine you
insane
burn
amount.
Yeah.
So that's what's been hard is toning that back. Because I normally run like 100 miles a week, and now I'm trying to like keep it to like 40 or 50.
Jesus.
But then I just have all this energy. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Now that you've slowed down the running, you have a
Yeah.
lot of energy. No kidding.
Yeah.
100 miles a week?
Because I was doing those ultra marathons, so
Yeah.
you got to train and hike, and so I actually got Sean to do an ultra marathon with me.
Did you
so,
really?
yeah.
Did he complete it?
Kind of. It was a little miscommunication about a cutoff time. So he stopped because he was like, oh, I don't want to hold you back. So you go. But then he wound up doing the whole thing anyways because he went back to the start, then ran back to find me and his brother, then ran back with me to the end, then ran back to get his brother, then ran back with him. So by the end, he had done the full, I think it was 33 miles.
Mm-hmm. Is it a loop?
No, it's out and back. So we started at, that lake near Escondido.
Dixon?
No, forget what it's called, but it's even coming up. Hodges, Lake Hodges?
Oh, yeah.
So you start there and you run like past the wild animal park and you're just running up and down the mountains that are back there. And then you just run back. But I think it was like 33 and a half miles maybe in the end.
Mm-hmm. Is it like a checkpoint at the turnaround?
Yeah.
So you
And
have
so that's
to
why he had thought like we barely made the cutoff there. And he was just like, I don't think I'm going to make the cutoff. And he was like, I don't want to stop you and my brother from making it. But then his brother didn't make a cutoff either. And they told him like, oh, you can keep going. Don't worry about it. So he was like,
cool.
oh man, if I would have known that, I would have like completed the whole thing.
Did you make the cutoff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I did 100K like the year before. So a lot of it is just mental. So I think that's why I enjoy the ultra running, is because you have to push yourself. And
How far is 100K?
60, like 65 miles maybe.
Yeah, okay.
In the end. And that was in Cuyamaca, so you're running like up and down the mountains there. Because a lot of the ultras, you typically run up a mountain peak that's at least like 6,000 feet.
Wow, 6,000 elevation gain?
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Yeah,
Really?
like I did one in Big Bear, and that one, through the whole race, you gained, I think it was 18,000 feet. Because you run up a mountain that was 10,000 feet, and you're
My
at
goodness.
2,000 feet at one point.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's fun.
Are you going to push up to 100?
I don't think so.
No?
I think I kind of liked the 100K at most.
Okay.
And then maybe 50Ks are just fun. But yeah, I feel like 100 miles would be kind of pushing it to the point where it wouldn't be fun anymore. Because even the 100K by the end, I was like, I'm pretty done. And you have to run through the night, and I did not enjoy that part.
How many hours are you running?
The 100K, it was 17 hours or 16 and a half.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of just nighttime running, and that's just kind of boring.
With like a headlamp?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I was in a little group, but they got kind of racist. So then I was just running by myself because I was like, I don't think I can really listen to this much longer.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So
you
the
find it everywhere.
conversation turned a little racist?
Yeah.
So what do? Slow down a little bit?
I was like, I'm going to hang back and go to the bathroom real quick. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in that.
Right, yeah, especially like you're running in nature and it's just
Yeah,
beautiful. And
just
I
all
was
peaceful.
amazed that it even happened, where I'm like, oh, I thought like everyone who ran ultras was just like, just want to be out in nature and everything's cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's cool.
Do you remember how the topic turned?
Yes, and
It
it
did.
was. Yeah, it was the person who started it was part of Border Patrol,
Okay.
and they started just talking about, the problems with
Sure.
like the border and everything, and then it just expanded from there
Yeah.
into like why everyone is horrible that comes
Opinions.
from there. So
Yeah.
then I was just like, ew, and then words were getting said where I was just like, oh boy, like
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to
Just
stop
gonna hang
and
back.
hang back, go to the bathroom right here.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be a downer for
Right,
sure.
yeah. And especially this was like, 14 hours into the race, and you're just like, it's dark. There's nothing to see anymore. So you're just talking and then
Yeah.
just being stuck with like, I don't want to talk politics here. and
Yeah. How far ahead can you see with your headlamps?
Maybe like 10 yards at best.
Yeah. You're not worried about any cliffs or anything like that?
No, the trail's pretty like well marked, and you can kind of see ahead of you like people's lamps and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of know the way, and they mark like on the trail. There's like ribbons, so they say if you don't see a ribbon every like mile or so, you've gone off track.
Oh, okay. Do people get off track often?
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
I feel like
Have
I
you?
get off track almost every race because
How far?
maybe like quarter of a mile or so, and then you just realize like, oh, this isn't a trail anymore, and
So you just backtrack.
yeah, because your mind starts to like wander a bit. So
course.
the one in Big Bear where I went a mile off, I was looking at markings on trees where they were marking them to cut them down.
Yes.
And I was just following that and then realized, oh, like I've gone completely off course and I'm just following a logging road at this point. But now it's nice too because with technology, you can download the GPX file into your phone and then it'll show you on your phone all the time if you're off course.
Can it tie into like a watch or something so you don't have to pick up your phone?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you run with like a Garmin or anything?
And my Apple Watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, works good. And then my phone.
Oh, you do bring your phone for like an emergency or?
Yeah. And just like, I like listening to music sometimes where I listen to a lot of audiobooks or like podcasts.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mhm. Yeah, because there's points where you're alone for like 2 hours. So, like, you'll sing really loud to yourself. I talk to myself, listen to podcasts. I listen to like very light books. Like, I listen to like The Hunger Games or Harry Potter or something or Star
Okay.
Wars books or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
where
yeah.
you can just kind of get lost in the adventure of it, but not have to think too deeply.
Exactly. So you run with earbuds?
Yeah. Well, I have these ones that are called Treks, and they're like the like project sound through your jawbone.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, because you can still
Really?
hear, but it feels creepy because it feels like the sound is like in your brain, like it's
Yeah.
like bouncing around in your skull, but you're still open to the world. So yeah, they're
Wow.
great for running. I highly
Trex,
recommend them. Yeah,
Trex.
I believe so. Yeah, or Aftershocks is another one.
Okay.
So all the
how do
same
they
kind of idea.
attach to you though?
Oh, it just like goes over your ear and then it like just sits against your skull, and there's sometimes a band that kind of goes around the back, or the new ones I think are just so light in the back that it just sits over your ear, and the just like compression on it holds it. Because they don't have to be real snug because it's just bone conductive. Yeah, so it just sits
I'm
like right in your
feeling
temple pretty much.
right at your temple.
And they're padded, so you like hardly feel them. Yeah.
Really? They don't shake around as you're running?
Nope. And the charge lasts forever on them for some reason.
Yeah, they're wireless,
Mhm.
obviously. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check those out.
Yeah, I highly
I've heard
recommend
of
them.
those.
Yeah, they're great.
Huh.
Yeah, so if
Okay.
you do running or just anything, like even around the house, like I'll put them on so I can still hear the kids, but I can like listen to music or a podcast. Like,
Well, it's a pain in the butt to like work out with earbuds, and that's kind of the problem. Like I see people with like headphones on,
Right.
But like I don't know, I'm a little bit more active than just sitting on a
Right.
machine, so it shakes a lot, you
Yep.
know. And then my earbuds get a little sweaty, and then they
Yep.
pop out. And
mhm.
okay, I'm gonna have to check those
Yeah.
out.
I was using the AirPods for a while.
Yeah.
And they slipped out all the time. Then I found a trick where if I turn them upside down and kind of shove the stem into the empty part of my cartilage up here, they
Yes.
stay in a lot better. So I can run with
So you
those
have to
now.
reverse them.
Yeah,
though,
so
right?
they're upside down. Yeah. So you put the right in your left, and then the stem sticks up
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
part
yeah,
of your ear.
yeah.
So I found-
Are those any better than the wired earbuds?
Nope. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the only nice thing about them is that you can pop them in the case and charge them, and they're wireless. So if you just, I don't like the feeling of, especially when I'm running or working out, the wires against me for some reason.
I know. I tuck it in my shirt, and yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But I would think those AirPods would just come out.
Yeah.
No matter how
Yeah.
light the stem
Yep.
is, it's
yeah.
it's
Then
still
I found
like
these like
weight.
yeah, I found these like little like $20 ones that have been the best. They like seem to not pop out,
okay.
but the charge doesn't last very long. So still, the Trex ones are by far the best.
The Trex ones last hours.
Yeah. Oh, they'll last like I think 12 hours on the charge.
Oh yikes. Okay.
Yeah. And then on these races too, I bring a little like battery pack with me so I can charge anything.
Really?
Mhm.
What do you carry it in?
I have like a running backpack.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's one by like Ultimate Direction. And
Okay.
yeah, they make like everything like you can compress it perfectly because during the race you lose a ton of weight and then you kind of gain a ton of weight, lose a ton of weight because you're like
During the race.
yeah, because you're running and then you're like burning off a ton of calories. So then they have aid stations where you can eat, but your body can't process the food so well. So by the end of the race, you're probably about like maybe 6 to 8 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife always jokes because I'll come home from a race and I've like a 6-pack all of a sudden and I look shredded because you've just lost all your like
Yeah,
water
you're
pretty much.
jacked.
Right. Yeah, so for a couple days I look like the skinniest, buffest person ever.
Yeah.
But like how you see those like long distance, like, you know, like what are the racers? From Africa pretty much. Like they look so lean and perfect and
Yeah.
but this backpack, like it compresses all over the place and I have like first aid kit in it, like you can keep food in it, it has a water bladder,
That's cool.
battery charger.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So for anyone doing a lot of running, highly recommend that too.
How do you wire up your phone to the battery?
Oh, just like with a cable.
So
like-
do you have to
yeah,
stop
because it even
that?
has like front pockets and stuff, so I can like keep the charger right here and then like put my phone right under it and just have like one battery.
Oh, I see.
Or
Are
one
you
wire
doing
that
all this while
attaches.
you're running, or do you
Mhm.
stop?
But you stop at aid stations too, and then a lot of like the uphill parts you're walking anyway, so like
You
that's
can
when you can kind of adjust
adjust
everything and play with
things.
it.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
even take the backpack off while I'm going uphill and just like sling it over a shoulder and
Just because it gets uncomfortable?
yeah, because you're
or-
pretty much just fast hiking at that point. So sometimes you want, 17 hours of just your body like jarring up and down. There's a lot of chafing and
Yeah.
yeah. So you also have tape in there to cover my nipples. 'cause,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, get a lot of chafing.
No, for sure. For sure. Special probably shoes too, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine it's just not your normal like
No.
Adidas.
Yeah, I use these. They're called maximalist shoes. So the cushion on them is insanely fat. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's about like a 3-inch cushion on it. But because like, you're hitting all these little rocks because you're running on dirt. So if your ankle is twisting the whole time, it kind of like by the end of the race, it just hurts. But when you have all this cushioning, it kind of absorbs all the little rocks.
Okay.
Yeah. So I found it's a lot better.
But they're not like mid tops or anything like that support the ankle. Do you tape your ankles?
No. Yeah.
No. That'd probably affect your running.
Yeah. Because I think over time, because I know when I was training with Sean, you're kind of causing all these kind of micro breaks in your bones so that they just like repair and get stronger over time.
Okay.
So like your shins get incredibly dense and
Oh.
yeah, so you kind of like build up the bones in your like legs.
And they get stronger.
Mhm.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so you're kind of trying to push yourself to that like micro breaks and then they heal a little stronger.
That makes sense.
So the theory is.
Yeah. Can you tell when you're getting to that point?
Oh, yeah. Because it'll like, when you take a step, you can kind of feel like a little
painful.
tinge in there.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, like, okay, I need to start walking at this point and like let my body repair.
And walking will give you enough time to recover, enough to start running
Well, no,
again?
yeah. Then you'll have to like wait a few days. But just during the training part. Is
the
when,
training.
Like, you don't want to push it past that because that's when you get like shin splints or like kind of things you can't recover from.
What about when you're running and that starts to happen? Like
you
when
have
you're
to,
in the race and that's happening.
A lot of people drop out. Yeah.
Would you?
I've dropped out of one race, but it was just super hot and it was kind of boring. And I kind of blame my wife too because the in-laws had the kids. So she kept texting me like, hey, like, if you were to just end this race, I'm already in the same town as you. And like, we could go home or have dinner or something. And I was like, okay, like a night alone with my wife in our house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to choose that over like finishing this race with a bunch of like sweaty people that I don't care about.
Yeah. I would probably rephrase it. I wouldn't say that you blame your wife. I would say, luckily, I have a wife that can entice me to change my mind easily.
Yeah. Because I was texting her, I'm like, oh, this race is just loops. It's super boring. Like, it was a 3-mile loop that you essentially do. It's like 15 times or something. Where I was like, the 6 pass through. I was just like, this is really boring. Like, it's very ugly scenery. It was like in the very back of Poway. It had been a dry summer, so it was just dirt, and you're just like dirt in your face the whole time. So I was like, I don't want to quit, and then she was like, oh, you should just quit. I'm like, come home. I'm like, we could have dinner and an enticed night.
She
like,
enticed
okay,
you, yes. She did.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame it on her.
Not very difficult for me to be enticed that way.
That's perfect. That's the perfect answer. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know the races before you enter into them?
Mm-hmm.
So you just assume this one would be nicer?
Yeah, and it was the first time I had done this race, and my in-laws live in Poway, so it being in Poway was just a perfect, like, very easy to drop the kids off. And
yeah. How do you drop out? You just go to a checkpoint?
Yeah, just tell someone, and then they try to convince you to not drop out, and because that's their job. Like, they try to encourage you, and they're all runners too, so they're like, if you drop out, you're going to regret this, and you're going to have a DNF, did not finish, on your record. And,
yeah.
Because people, like, check each other's,
of course,
like, stats and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I was just like, oh, I don't care.
You're just like, big smile. You're like, I'm not dropping out because it's hard.
Yeah. And it made it hard, too, because the loop, I could see my truck every time that I did the loop. So I'm like, I could just get to my truck. It's right there, and I'd be done. So, but these longer races, you're still like, I'm 20 miles away from my truck. Like, so it's either I drop out, someone has to drive me there, or I have to wait till the race is over for someone to come get me. So it's a lot more incentive to finish the race.
To keep going.
Yeah. Where when you're doing this loop and you're just like, oh, there's my truck.
There's my truck again,
like, here it comes.
How long was that race?
I think that one was maybe a 50-miler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, 50 miles of doing that.
Yeah, just the same loop. In that race, I think like half the people dropped out that year because it was just so hot and there was no shade because everything had died.
Oh, okay. How do they offer checkpoints or anything for those?
It's like every few miles, and then it's just like a...
But you're on the same loop.
Yeah, so that one I think there was probably one at the start and then one halfway through.
Oh, so like 1.5 mile type of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So if you need to get water...
And then they like, as you're running up, you have, your bib on, and they'll say like, okay, like 183 coming in, and then you eat food real quick or drink whatever you want, and like, if you need Vaseline or something, and then they'll be like, okay, 183 going out. And they just make sure that they haven't lost anybody through the race, because heat stroke is a big thing, or a lot of these races, because they're in the mountains, like people could fall off a cliff or like, wander off somewhere to go to the bathroom and get completely lost.
Yeah.
So if they haven't seen someone for an hour, then they'll send someone to the last checkpoint they saw them and look for them.
I was listening to a podcast with, and I cannot think what her name is, but she ran an ultra marathon, 125, 150. It was long. And she was talking about how it was like nighttime and she was running with, I don't know, is it possible to have running partners that are not in the race?
Pacers. Yeah.
Pacers,
Mm-hmm.
just to stay with you and keep you.
Yep.
So this was like nighttime, and she was saying her pacer was running with her, and, you're doing good. Hey, just keep it up. And, she said her legs were like wobbly.
Yep.
And she's like, I just needed to take a short little sleep.
Yep. Little dirt nap. Yeah.
Yeah. So she said she took a nap, And then when she woke up, she said she was so pissed at her pacer. How can you let me sleep this long? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, slow down. It's only been 5 minutes.
Right.
And she's like, and I felt completely
Yep.
refreshed and ready to go. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Yeah, because even sometimes just like sitting in a chair, like at that 100K race, like I sat in a chair for 2 minutes and just drank ramen broth. And it was the most amazing, just transformative of where I was like, okay, I'm like ready again. So sometimes just like pausing. And
Okay. They make ramen broth for you there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's so many weird things that, like when I was telling Sean, I'm like, you'll see, like you'll just want pickle juice. And he was like, I don't think that's going to happen. But then, yeah, sure enough, like 25 miles in, there's just cups of pickle juice. And you're just like, that looks like the best thing ever. It's just salt and vinegar. And like, because you lose so much salt. So all salty stuff just.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. Because at each aid station, they'll have just cut up potatoes with rock salt next to it. And you just take a potato and dip it in the rock salt. And you're just eating mouthfuls of salt.
So raw potato?
Well, it's like mildly cooked potato.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're trying to get that salt
so
back.
much salt. Yeah. Like people literally just eat salt packs or just like handfuls of salt. Yeah, by the end of the race, my beard is just crusted white because it's just all the salt that's leaked out of me.
Okay. Pickle juice. I love pickles.
Yeah.
I never even thought that you'd drink pickle juice.
Oh, yeah. And for like weeks afterwards, you'll just want to drink pickle juice for some reason.
Really?
Yeah. So I wonder if that has some like correlation with how like pregnant women want pickle juice or something. There must be some weird like primordial thing that just when your body is under duress, you're like, I need pickle juice.
I need some pickles.
Right.
I need some dill up in my life. That's kind of cool. Well, now what? What's the plan for the shop?
I don't know. Just keep going.
Yeah?
I feel like, man, knock on wood, but we're 5 stars like on everything. I think we're the #1 Google search. So I'm just trying to keep everything going and moving. Like I think Ava, the lady who owned it before me, set it in a great direction. So I just want to keep that going.
What do you mean #1 in a Google search?
I think like if you search like tattoo shop Temecula,
You guys
we're
are
the
first
top
page?
result.
Oh, top result. Like you're #1.
I believe so. Well, let me see.
Yeah, we should look.
Oh wait, yeah, maybe we should look on your computer.
Well, it's
'cause
okay.
Mine probably has my like, I search myself all the time, so it's gonna be like, oh yes, like you're #1.
You search yourself?
Yeah. Well,
Like-
I mean, I search to like, make sure like, did we get a bad review or like, has anything changed or is the site still coming up? Like all the little things as a business owner
That you have
like,
to check.
Wake up at 2 a.m, frantically panicking about. That
Yeah.
like, you have a dream like the website went down, like, or like Google removed me or something, or like I got a bad Yelp review or something.
Yeah. Is Yelp pretty important?
I think Yelp's the least. Like,
Oh,
it's-
yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like most people now know that like they're an advertising site. Like you can pay to be the top result on it.
Oh, I didn't know that. You
Oh
can.
yeah, because I mean it'll even say very small next to it like ad, but like Yelp calls me all the time about advertising with them, and it's not the most honest one. So I feel like Google, people just, and now on like cell phones, everyone just like pulls up their search engine and just types in like tattoo Temecula. So I feel like when I ask people, they mostly come from Google.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a self-feeding cycle too, because I don't do anything with Yelp. So I'm sure the more you put into Yelp, the more beneficial it is. But I feel like most business owners hate Yelp.
I've heard that. I have heard that. Where I teach martial arts, he's not a huge fan of Yelp.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's probably because of that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah. Now I'm curious.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh, no.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now that counts all the other like random through Facebook and I don't know. I'm gonna let you for sure. Look, I'm intentionally not saying other names,
Okay.
but obviously you're gonna know who they are. But yeah, being on that first page, that's
Right.
super important. I didn't know you could pay through Yelp. So
Yeah.
they hit you up like a sales, like, give us this much and we'll give you good Yelp reviews.
Yep.
Oh.
Or they like remove some of your bad reviews. And
Oh,
then,
that's
yeah.
pretty cheesy too. You
Yep.
shouldn't be able to do that.
Right. Yeah. So we're 5th on there then. Man.
Sorry,
See.
I wasn't
Oh, no,
trying
yeah.
to be a
But
downer.
we're the only 5-star one, so.
Oh, you
That-
are?
That's good, yeah.
Okay. Is that through...
Just like their Google reviews,
Oh, yeah.
I guess. I know we're 5-star on Yelp, too.
And
Yeah,
that's
so
a lot.
I'm-
That's
yeah.
a lot of reviews.
Yeah. So I guess, I'm influencing my own search results on my stuff, so good to see, yeah.
Geez, look at all those location tags.
Yeah, there's so many. It's phenomenal. But in a good way. I mean, Temecula and Murrieta are growing so much, so there's more than enough business for everybody. So kind of view it as a good thing because there's so many amazing artists. So it's nice now to be like, oh, I don't do portraits, so I can recommend you to someone who does excellent portraits. Or, if there's someone who does a style that I know will do it better, I can say like, oh yeah, go to this shop.
Do you guys refer a lot?
Mhm.
You do?
Mhm.
Good. Do
Yeah.
people refer to you?
I think so, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. With 5, so you have 4 artists?
Right now, yes. Well, we have 3 and then an apprentice and a piercer. Because I wanted to keep the shop small. I kind of like that better.
Yeah, I think it was 3 when I was in there.
Yeah, because it's a 900 square foot place, so I just want everyone to have more room than they need, and for it to not feel like it's a factory setting, but more of a like artistic setting, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you said open, so that means there's like no walls or anything?
Nope. Yeah. So everyone can kind of see what each other's doing. I mean, we all have our like the same when you were there, like the wooden roll top desks.
Yeah.
So that's our stations, and then but other than that, it's a very open floor plan. I mean, we have like an enclosed bathroom and enclosed sterilization area, but other than that, everything's open.
Was that Ava's idea for the roll top desk?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
You go in a couple other places and they have like the tool chest.
Yep, that's the standard, the Craftsman tool chest and a massage table.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it works for people. It's just,
Of course, yeah.
I find it very, like, it lacks personality to me, which is, again, why I like our shop and why I wanted to buy it was just, I love the personality of our shop, and I think it's very reflective of what you could expect to get there, where I feel like, and maybe people want the, like, just industrial Craftsman tools and, like, massage table, and, like, that's fine. You don't want the personality shop, and I could see how some people find it annoying maybe, but I personally like it.
What tables do you guys use?
They're kind of like massage tables, but they also like the legs go down, the back comes up, like the arms can go out, and they're very thickly padded.
Thickly padded for comfort?
Yeah. Because we were finding, you're laying on a very thinly padded massage table for 4 hours, like things start to fall asleep, it gets uncomfortable, tailbone hurts.
So it has armrests?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
And now with the TV, we can angle it anywhere you want, so you can see the TV from any station.
Where's the TV? Above the door?
Kind of, yeah. And then it's on like a swing arm thing, so we can kind of just move it wherever.
So all stations can see the TV?
Yeah. It was really, I think it was the first thing I put in when I bought the place.
Was the TV?
Ava was very traditional in a very good way, but like didn't necessarily want people to have internet access because it was distracting, or watch the TV because it's distracting, where she liked the open concept and wanted everyone to talk, but didn't think people would talk while there was a TV on, or that like while you're getting a tattoo, you should be focused on the process of getting a tattoo and not so much like what dumb movie is distracting my mind. She was very into like earning the tattoo in a sense.
Interesting.
That, like, you should feel the feelings associated with getting a tattoo and not just be like, what can I do to distract me?
Interesting.
Yeah, which is why she didn't want like people having the internet, because then they're just going to sit on their phone the whole time and like not really be a part of the experience.
Yeah. Do you guys offer Wi-Fi now?
Yeah, now
you
we do. Yes. Because also knowing that like...
Yeah, what's your philosophy on that?
I feel like modern day is just when people don't have the internet, they freak out. So I feel like I don't want to incite any extra stress in people. And I know like people come in and be like, I don't have service. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And be like, oh man. And then they'll go outside to like send texts real quick, and you could just see the look of dread on their face.
Really?
I mean, we get people that are 18, like they've never lived a day of their life without ready internet access.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Sure, with your kids, they know like
Yeah.
my kids had to listen to the radio and were so confused on why I couldn't put on the song that they requested.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it's just the Bluetooth isn't working right now and I don't have the plug for my phone.
Yeah.
We're just going to listen to the radio. And they were just like, what? And then a commercial came on. They're like, can you skip this? I'm like, I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Reception.
Yeah.
How about reception? What's wrong with the song?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just not getting good reception right now. What's reception?
Right. Yeah. Where they can like instantly just dial up any song. Where I'm like, you had to sit there like by the record button, waiting for the song you wanted to come on if you didn't want to buy the album. And like, you're going to have a DJ talking over the first 10 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like people just need the internet now. So I feel like I understand. And it's good for business. Like people Facebook living and stuff, or like posting like live stuff on Instagram. I'm just like, cool. Like, that's free commercials for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can imagine if somebody goes in there and they're nervous to get their tattoo, that having a distraction, like
Right.
some movie, like, you know, they're nervous or sitting down, then they look up and like you said, Gremlins is on and they're like, oh my gosh, like
Right.
good feelings of from when I was
Yep.
younger, or what's this, you know, crazy, weird show I've never
Yep.
seen.
And we've typically found that it's good for conversations that like, we don't keep the volume on the TV. It's just on mute. So you can kind of read along if you want. And then we have music playing.
Oh, so you have captions.
Yeah. But people will be like, whoa, like, remember this scene? Or like, some people haven't seen certain iconic scenes from movies. So we'll just pull it up on YouTube. And then we all, like, lately we've been showing everyone the scene from Top Gun where they do the beach volleyball.
Okay.
Because we have a younger guy at the shop who's never seen Top Gun. But then you realize it's a very strange scene because there's the song like Playing with the Boys in the background,
Yeah.
and they're in jeans but playing beach volleyball.
Oh,
so
there's-
things like that.
yeah.
So it's pretty fun to have the TV now for that, where we're just like, oh, you've never seen this super strange thing? Like, let's throw it on.
Yeah, there's some. It seems like lately, in the past like year or two, there's been some like serious talk about what was the real meaning behind that
Yeah.
movie. It's a great movie, though.
Right.
Great movie.
Yeah. But then the new guy did watch it, and he was like, I don't get it. And a lot of
Yeah.
people have said, like, it's really not like. But I feel like if you were of that time period, Top Gun is amazing.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, because that's what we were joking with him, and we are like, "Oh, you're the new guy, like you're a goose." And he was like, "Okay, what's a goose?" Like,
What's
because
a
he could
goose?
sense that we were like making a joke, but he
Yeah.
was just like duck, duck, goose or what? And we're like, "No, goose, like from Top Gun." He was like, "I've never seen it." And we're like, "Oh God, yeah, you're young, okay."
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. So then we were showing him that scene, and he was like, "Wow, this is Playing with the Boys, got it." Okay.
He's like, this does not hold up. How old is he?
I think he's like maybe 26.
Okay.
Yeah. So for our shop, he's definitely the youngest there.
Would you ever hire someone that has no experience?
I mean, we have the apprentice, so we've been teaching him, but I mean, it's a good like 2 years to learn how to tattoo. And even then, you're doing the most simple, basic, you cannot mess this up tattoos.
What about someone that was an apprentice from somewhere else and they're looking for their first job?
No, yeah, because
No?
I mean, to learn to tattoo would take so much time. Because even with the apprentice, like we wanted to see that his art was reflective of tattoo, that he understood like what made a good tattoo, that he was doing art in his free time before he even became the apprentice. So, you know, we want, especially now with so many people going to art schools and everything, that it's pretty expected that you have a good art knowledge before you even become the apprentice. And then from there, it's like 2 years before you're going to tattoo an actual client. Or maybe like a year to 2
So that
years.
would be the process is you have to be an apprentice and then you better hope you can get a job at that shop.
Yep.
Because otherwise you can't apprentice somewhere for 2 years and
Right.
then get a job somewhere else.
Right.
That shop is your one chance.
Pretty much, yeah. Because a lot of it is like we don't pay the apprentice and he doesn't pay us, but he like cleans the shop, does paperwork, watches tattoos. He does all the like busy work that you don't want to do. So we're giving him a free education for him giving us, you know, work in exchange. And then, you know, by that time, by over the 2 years, like you've pretty much molded someone to be the perfect employee. So you would hope that they would want to stay and that you would want to keep them. So I feel like if after 2 years, Brian, our apprentice, wants to leave, or I don't want him there anymore, like somewhere along the line we failed. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great. He's doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever had an apprentice that didn't work out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be an example of an apprentice that doesn't work out? Like, what would they do? Like, bad attitude?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, because a lot of it's younger people want to do it. And that was one of the big things I liked about Brian, our current apprentice, is he's in his 30s. He drives an Amazon delivery truck during the day. And he's like been with the same girl forever. So he has all the incentive to do the job right. Where young people that want to do it, they think it's all like rock star life. And
Yeah.
that, like you're getting paid cash and like there's like girls that come in and your friends are going to think you're cool. But you
For
realize
sure.
like, no, it's a lot of like mopping and scrubbing tubes and being extraordinarily clean and like learning cross-contamination and like learning all of these horrible things. And that like just because you can draw really good on a piece of paper, it's so much different than someone who moves and breathes and twitches and like does not enjoy being poked with a needle and it's on a curved surface.
Mm-hmm.
So all the young kids, I feel like, just kind of give up after a while and realize that like it's not as fun as they thought it was going to be.
Would you say half apprentices don't work out?
Like 90%.
Oh,
maybe.
don't work out.
Mhm.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Within a couple months?
Yeah.
Or
Because a lot of it too, like you try to stress the person out at like the first part of it because, like I said, like you have to have that confidence. So
not
a lot
really
of-
hazing, but you're
Right.
you're putting it hard on
Yeah,
them.
because you're trying to show them like I emphasized with Brian a lot, like this is very stressful. Like you have to understand that every mistake you make is permanent. Like so you really have to be confident in your drawing and confident in your abilities. So I think a lot of the kids realize like I'm not, like then they'll quit or they just have a bad attitude. They stop showing up because you're not getting paid or like, you know, show up hungover and then you're pointless or
Okay. Young.
yeah.
Young and making immature decisions.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would imagine that young kid. Well, I say kids, like we're old. I would imagine young people that want to get into it would think it's kind of like a rock star
yeah.
type of thing. You know, like hanging out at the tattoo shop.
Yep.
And
And it used to be, but I think now it's definitely
a little more. I don't want to say respectful, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, because you have like, you know, people that have like professional jobs that are getting tattoos now. Like where when I started, I worked at a Hell's Angel shop. It was still very biker oriented.
Really?
Like it was very criminal or like college kids. And that was it. Where now we get people coming in, they're like lawyers and judges and doctors. And like everyone has a tattoo now. It's not as like socially unacceptable as it was, you know, like now like Walmart people have like tattoos. Like no company seems to even care anymore about tattoos, visible tattoos. Where back in the day, it was you hid it from everybody. Where now we have like mothers and kids coming in and getting their tattoos together. Where before it was something you had to hide from your parents.
I know the first person in my school district that had a sleeve.
Was that you?
That was me.
Nice. That's awesome.
And nobody else had it. And
Crazy.
Yep. And I remember asking our union representative, I called her up that summer and, hey, you know, this is what I'm going to do. And she's like, it comes down to dress code. We can't enforce dress code. So just make sure that it's appropriate. And if you need the support, I'm there for you. And fortunately, my principal loved it, thought it was like, you know, beautiful. And,
Nice.
and he was all about it. And then, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Now you go to these big meetings of like the whole school district and,
Right.
you know, all the girls have sleeves
Yep.
now. And it's like,
Yep.
I'm not unique anymore.
Do you have to wear long sleeves or can
No,
you expose?
no,
Wow,
no.
that is awesome.
Oh no! My first day of school, I went in short sleeves,
Nice.
short sleeve button up.
Right.
I probably even wore a tie just to really push home the fact that like I'm so professional.
Right. You're the authority.
Yes, exactly. Now it's just like t-shirts and polo shirts.
And it's not like you have like naked demon girls all over you or something. Like,
No, a
yeah,
beautiful,
you have,
I have a beautiful
the
solar system.
Right.
It's nice. Yeah. Yeah. I got to ask you, did you intentionally make it look like watercolor or did it just,
No, yeah.
that's like the number one compliment that I get
nice.
is how did he make it look like it's watercolor?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with space, it's just, you don't want to do it solid black because then it looks kind of just like, I don't know, giant black arm. And then we've kind of all accepted that like purple, blue, maroon is like the color of space or like the color of like gaseous nebulas.
Are you trying to tell me it's not? You mean space doesn't have colors? Oh, you're shocking me here.
Wait, does like are the clouds really like that kind of color? Like the coloring?
Are you being serious?
Yeah. I have no clue because I know like from the images from the Hubble telescope, I know they're like artist rendered, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to say there's no color in
Right.
space, but there's not a whole lot of color. Everything's Everything's pretty dark.
Right, because it would have to be like reflected off of sunlight, right? So
Right.
if there was no star nearby, you would have
Right.
just,
For instance, the giant red spot on Jupiter is absolutely red, but all the other color that you put in
Right.
is beautiful, but it's not there.
Yeah.
But if someone showed you a picture of Jupiter, that's what
Right.
it looks like.
Right.
But it's not that.
But would that be reflective of like if someone like moved the sun very close to Jupiter and cast the like proper light spectrum on it? Would
Probably.
You... Okay.
Probably. I think they add color tones in space just to show like different gases and
Right.
different irregularities and stuff like that. My understanding is it's pretty much gray, though.
Yeah, that's what it would
I
seem.
guess.
Right. Yeah, because I remembered someone joking about that, how like all these beautiful images that we have from the Hubble telescope, that it's just like, that's just what an artist interprets like these giant gas clouds as, but they're really just like, look like smoke.
Yeah. Have you heard of Flat Earth?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Have you watched that documentary on Netflix?
No, there's a lot.
It is so good.
Really?
Yes. Watch the one on Netflix.
In support of it?
No.
Because it could still be good if it's in support of it.
But it's more just like all of the theories behind it and just the mental gymnastics that people go through to prove that it's flat Earth. Because they even buy this like $20,000 device that registers the tilt of the Earth. So they were like, oh yeah, like they want us to believe it really tilts. But if it did, this thing would register 15 degrees every hour, 24 hours, 360 degrees. And they're like, so we're going to show you that it doesn't. But it does. It does the 15 degrees. And they're like, oh, well, there was interference. Then they put it in a like Faraday cage pretty much. Still comes out 15 degrees. And then by the end, they're just like, okay, we're not going to bring this up at the meeting. But they've like completely disproved themselves.
Oh my
but they're
gosh.
still just like,
really?
We can't talk about this.
I'm going to have to check that out.
It's so good. But it's hard too, because one of the guys too, you even see like understands that it's a complete joke, but he's just like, people aren't writing songs about 9/11 and like what could be the truth behind that. But he's like, we have rap about flat Earth and it's just more fun. And he was like, when you're looking at the conspiracies, like this one's kind of a fun, nice one.
Okay.
So I feel like everyone in it is just like, we may like, it's just more fun to like believe that there's a flat Earth or Bigfoot or something,
Okay.
Like it's one of the ones where like, it doesn't seem so doom and gloom, and it's just like, oh yeah, like there's this conspiracy and NASA's just trying to get money. And
yeah, they actually have like tours where you can get on a boat and they're gonna they're gonna cruise out to the ice wall.
yeah. 200-foot ice wall.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, where are they gonna go to make sure they hit the ice
Right.
wall? I would imagine it's Antarctica.
Right.
Otherwise, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
You're not going to find no ice wall. I think there's also no space.
Yeah.
You've heard that one
There's
too?
two different camps. Yeah, like the no space and then the infinite space. Like we live in a Truman-style dome was what they were talking about on that.
That would be no space. Is it in the same documentary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they go over all of the different, like, how the different camps are fighting and...
Really?
Yeah.
Is it all for flat Earth or is it...
All for flat Earth, yeah.
Okay. So part of flat Earth would probably be no space?
Yep. And then there's some that believe there's still infinite space, but we are just on a flat Earth. And then...
So we're on a disc
right.
in an infinite space.
Yes. And then some people that they believe we're in a dome, and then some people are in a dome, and it's a Truman-style show dome where we're really just being watched and filmed. And then there's like the religious aspect of it where, the Bible says this and like all the crazy
And that's
stuff.
all in the documentary?
Yep. Yeah. And then sadly, too, you just realize some people are just...
What's the name of that documentary?
I think Flat Earth, maybe.
I have Netflix up right here.
Because one guy, too, he like lives on an island in Washington, and he's like, I think he says he's 115 miles from Seattle, and he's like, see, I could see it. If the Earth was round, I shouldn't be able to see Seattle. And you just think like, oh, like you're adorable and don't understand that the Earth is gigantic.
Whoa. Good show. Sorry.
Yeah. But like that guy just doesn't understand that like what he can see is like 0.1% of like the actual space of the Earth. And that he's just like, why can I see? Like, you're just like, the Earth is so big. Like,
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of that where you're like, oh, you guys are like really cute how just ignorant you are. Or just...
Well, that's one of the theories that you hear in flat Earth is that there's no real photos of showing that we're living on a sphere.
Right.
It's like, well, there is. And they're like, no, they're puzzle pieced together, which means it's digital. It's photoshopped.
Yep.
It's like, oh, God, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, they had one where it was literally, there was a picture of the Hubble telescope, and they were like, how'd they get a picture of the Hubble telescope? Like, you do understand there's other things out there too that can take pictures.
Behind the Curve.
Yes,
Behind
I
the
believe
Curve.
that's the one. Yeah.
Okay, so Behind the Curve on Netflix. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
It looks like almost like spotlights that are.
Yeah, because that's what they believe is that in the dome one that there's just like a sunlight and a moonlight, and it just kind of rotates around a center axis. It's very clever. Like, there's a dude that builds tables in it, and he builds these beautiful tables, and I feel like, oh yeah, I would love to have one of those. And
What's the table to illustrate what
yeah,
our
how the flat Earth works?
No
so
kidding.
It has the like spinning lights that go around it, and you realize like, wow, you really could, like, if you just kind of fudge all the stuff, like really make this work.
Oh, really? He makes it work?
Mm-hmm. But then you realize too that like, well, it works in a sense, but like, I mean, it works just visually, but then
Yeah.
this just wouldn't work.
So they would have
life.
to, over time, have the light change to show.
And they have to like, they kind of change the like where the continents are in relation to each other, so that as the like light is passing over, it's hitting the equator perfectly around, so that
Yeah, exactly.
the brightest part. And then it's surrounded by a 200-foot ice wall.
Well, that's true. How big do they say the disc is?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't quite remember, but yeah.
Because Earth is huge, like you were saying. So
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the argument for the stars?
I think, well, one that we're realistically in space, and then the other that we're in a planetarium, so they're just projected stars. And then I don't
Projected
remember.
from the disc?
Yeah, like in the Truman style show kind of thing. And then I don't think they explain how like GPS works or satellites or anything like that, but I'm sure they have.
There must be reasons for that. Because there's a lot of satellites up there.
Yeah.
There's a station up there with people on it.
Yeah. It's amazing how many people actually like believe in the flat Earth thing. Like, because they even show it in this documentary that they're like, oh yeah, and like, basketball players who are coming out and like actual people that people listen to.
Yo, no, there's like celebrities and everything that get on board with this. And yeah, sometimes I'll see like a post on Instagram or something. And you like, what? And you see one of the hashtags, #flat Earth. I'm like, oh,
Right.
You're one of those people.
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah. We had someone that came in the shop that was a legitimate flat earther.
Oh, really? Did they get tattooed?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a chance to talk to them?
And they were just very like the same, that like he was more in the like deep government conspiracy where that like he wasn't sure how the earth was flat, but just that it was, because there's evidence that NASA just siphons money from the government and that we actually never went to the moon and like all this stuff.
Yeah,
so
those
it kind
tie
of
together.
fed into just the government's taking money from people, and it's all part of like this round earth conspiracy too. And yeah. Do you believe in any conspiracy theories?
No, not really.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'd like to believe there's a Bigfoot.
Right.
Just because that would be so
Yeah.
neat. I'd say that one's more likely than a lot of the other conspiracies that you hear. The landing on the moon one's a tricky one because I can't remember what the astronaut's name is, but there's an actual photo of him like practicing with the cables, and then they show one like a press picture, and it's the same picture,
Right.
and they just took the wires off, and you're like, no,
Right.
no.
Yep. Yeah, because once you have that one little lie that you got caught in, then
Exactly.
it just feeds all the conspiracy.
And I get it. Maybe they didn't have a camera up there to see a spacewalk or whatever like that, but that's all it takes. Just that little hint, and then people start going for it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't like talking to people, though, about conspiracies.
Yeah.
This is different what we're doing, but when people like are like really into it, my brother's way into it. So you get him going on it, and it's never a casual conversation.
Right.
It's never just like, so Joe, I believe that, I can fly.
Right.
And you're like, oh, really? What makes you think that? Well, because I could do A, B, and C.
Right.
It's never like that. It's like, are you serious? Like, you really don't believe that you can fly? Like, have you ever even looked into this?
Yep.
You're like, okay, so now you're reading, my personal beliefs in this.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I'm a bad person.
Right,
'cause
yeah.
I'm not very smart because I don't believe in what you believe in. Oh, it's so frustrating.
You have some good friends that like really believe in like lizard people and like secret bases in Antarctica.
Really?
Yeah. Where it's fun because I feel like I feel like the few of them that really believe in it just have like fairly boring lives where I'm like, this kind of just brings excitement to your life and like
Yeah.
it's endearing in a way. I'm just like, you just need something to be like more fun other than like I feel like the 9/11 conspiracy people, there's like, I see that there is some valid evidence for it, but also it's just, some people probably have a hard time accepting that like terrorists did this and like we live in an unsafe world that's like frightening and you could die at any moment. So it just becomes easier to be like, nope, I don't live in that world. I live in the world where the government planned this
Yeah.
because they're so smart and they control everything. And like, I don't have to worry about terrorists or like random acts that are just horrible. I feel like most conspiracy theories, when you break it down, it's just like the world is scary and like it's a lot easier to be like, oh, no. Like this was all planned. It wasn't just a random act of horribleness. And
Yeah. I think it's easy to believe in conspiracies when there's actually like conspiracies that have happened.
Right.
You know, where the
Oh, yeah,
government
for sure.
did conspire to do this.
Yep.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Because then in the same regards, too, that if it ever came out like 30 years down the line, we're like, oh, the government really did 9/11. Also, a lot of me would be like, oh, yeah, that seemed to make sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of... There's a real famous one, and I can't think of it, but where it's like super well documented that they staged a fake war to get us involved in something else.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I mean, that seems like every war. Since,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
What was that? Ferdinand? No. Oh, man. Franz Ferdinand?
Yeah.
The guy that was like the archbishop or something that they said was assassinated out at sea, and that's what got us into like World War I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just in the 60s, how like the FBI and CIA was infiltrating like hippie groups and like encouraging people to do these things. And then they would use that as evidence of like, why we have to smash this group. And, you know.
Yeah. It's like even recent, remember the Wall Street one where, oh man, I can't think. I'm like drawing a blank on all of these right now. It was like 2 years ago. It was all out in DC, and a bunch of people were like peacefully gathering to like protest business or something like that. But like the government was sending in troops that like to like get a part of like this peaceful group, and then that person would like, you know, throw a rock, and then it incites the rest of the group, and then, you know, then the government can look back and be like, look, this isn't this peaceful sit-in that they're saying it's you know, supposed to be. Conspiracy theories. We're jumping around.
So fun, yeah.
They are fun though. They're fun. Do you believe in any of them?
No,
Anything?
not really.
Really?
I mean, I could see definitely some like assassinations. Like if it became that the government was involved in JFK, like that wouldn't be a surprise.
Okay.
Or something like that. That I'm sure like, you know, there are people really behind the government that are in more control, and that's why I don't really think like politicians do that much.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it's just.
I agree.
Like not an Illuminati style thing, but there's, you know, definite like a power circle that probably controls more than is admitted.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of just puppet heads that are acting for, you know, I represent you. And, or anything. They don't really make the decision. So I also probably don't think the president, any president, knows everything.
Oh, yeah.
When I think they should, if they're the leader, but I don't think they get filled. They couldn't possibly.
No way. Yeah. That'd be so much information. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when they get sworn in? Like, all right, you know, have a seat for about a week. We got to fill you in on everything, you know. So there is aliens.
Right.
Bigfoot does exist, but he's not in the Northwest like we say. He's, you know.
Yeah. So that's probably a conspiracy, too, that I would believe in is aliens. Like, it seems highly unlikely that they wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But then I forget that one guy who said, like, well, if they were here, like, wouldn't we have seen them already? And you're like, yeah, that's a good point, too.
But what if they were here and we didn't see them? Right.
And it would seem, too, that, like, based on how we exist as people, that if they survived long enough to be able to travel through space and then came across us, they probably would be like, let's leave them alone. Like, they have, like, nuclear weapons. They kill each other all the time. They seem crazy. Like, so I could see how if they were smart enough to get here, would just be like, yeah, let's like not get involved with these people, or like let's just observe them from a distance.
Because we're higher or not as smart as them?
Not as smart.
I would agree with that. No, I would totally agree with that.
Because I feel like it's how like, you know, you avoid certain parts of a city because you're just like, I don't want to go there because there's a good chance I'm going to get like mugged or shot, or like it just doesn't seem enticing to go there. So I would be like, oh, if you're, you know, that smart where you've, you could sail across the stars and observe other planets and everything. That like if you've made it that far, you're probably peaceful. You probably can like get together enough. But then if you came here, you'd be like, no, like they're not.
Yeah, I think even if they're not peaceful, I think anyone that was smart enough to get to us, because we can't even really get to Mars.
Right.
We can't even send a human to like the next planet out.
Right.
So if they're smart enough to get to our solar system, I would imagine they'd probably realize, just how dumb we are compared to them.
Right.
Be like if you're walking and you see an anthill.
Right.
Do you take ants?
Right.
Or do you try and, kill the whole colony? I mean, I guess for fun maybe you do.
Right.
But... I got a stupid tickle in my throat. So I think it'd be kind of that. Like, I think maybe you might do what we do with an anthill and you kind of look at it and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool how they do that.
We're going to see a giant magnifying glass in the sky one day.
Oh, I know. Oh, jeez. All of a sudden, it is really hot right now.
There's like one beam of sunlight that really hurts.
All of a sudden, Joe is burning. Why is he burning?
Yeah. Well, I've seen that conspiracy too. That like the government is launching, like that's what started all the fires was they have those like death rays.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Yeah.
Death rays.
I forget what they're actually called, but there's like people are taking pictures of fires and there's like, a flare off of a camera, but they're like, see right here, like that line, like,
geez.
and there was a plane that flew over before. So like the government is starting all these fires to like, I don't know, increase property values or destroy the insurance. I have no clue, but that was another big one.
That is such a waste of money.
Yeah.
I don't think our government really cares that much.
Right. Yeah.
Like a giant magnifying glass.
Right.
Nah. I don't know about that. I think aliens wouldn't make sense, though.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're here. And if they did come, I don't even think we would know. I think they're smart enough to get here. I think they could, if they wanted to come to Earth, I don't even think, they're not going to look like the stereotypical alien.
Yeah.
I mean, how egotistical is it to think that, like, they're going to have arms and legs like us? Like, maybe they don't even need that.
See, then there's also that theory that aliens are just us from the future. And that we've evolved to that point where we don't really need the muscles anymore, but we need the like large eyes and like we've had to alter our nose and mouth to filter out maybe like the horrible air that we've created. So they could just be us from the future.
That's what the stereotypical picture of an alien is. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Have you heard the theory of like why alien abductions always seem to be with like a bright light and they're getting worked on like in a hospital scene?
No.
Yeah. So a theory is that it's a memory of us as a baby when you're born in a hospital.
All right.
And so you're used to being in this like warm sack and everything's perfect. And then you come out into a bright light with, a person that has like, they're all sterile environment with gloves and masks on and they're staring at you and it's loud. And so that's a small theory of, why would we not? Like I have memories now. Why couldn't I have memories from when I was a baby? Possibly.
Yeah.
I
like that one.
Yeah. So that's the true answer. So now you just go ahead and let everybody know.
Would you want to be like encounter an alien?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. It depends. Do I know ahead of time what would happen?
No.
So it could be peaceful. It could be.
Yeah, they're just like one just like pops up to your doorway and you just know it's an alien. Like you look through your what is that called? Where you can see someone outside the whatever hole that you can see.
Yeah.
And you just see it's an alien on your doorstep.
Do I open the door? What a great question. I think I do. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do. And hopefully they're peaceful.
Yeah.
Because they're standing at my door.
Right.
Rather than knocking it down.
That's true, yeah. They could just like vaporize it.
Yeah. Aliens could do all that with their ray gun.
Oh, yeah.
Would you open the door?
No, I think I'd be so scared.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
No, yeah.
They're at your door.
Actually, possibly I would because I think just the inherent curiosity, I would have to open it.
They're standing at your door.
Right.
I mean, if they wanted something, you'd think they'd try and, I don't know, cause a scene of some sort. So that would be different if, now you look out your window and you see
Yeah, then I'd probably hide.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
wouldn't be. I wouldn't be curious enough to walk up to it. You see, some sort of craft land.
Right.
You know,
It's
especially.
in my dog out to see how they reacted to her. Maybe they would
Yikes.
think she was like the leader of the household. So
Would
if
you
they
really? Would you really send your dog out?
yeah.
What if it killed your dog?
better my kids or
Yeah,
like,
that's
my
true.
wife or me.
That's
I
true.
mean, I love my dog, but like, I could, yeah. I mean, I know she'll die at some point.
That's
and
the
I'll
canary in
replace
the,
her.
in the coal mine.
Exactly. Yeah, because then if she like went up, and she's a friendly dog, so if she licked them and they were responsive to it, then they'd be like, okay, like they seem peaceful. But if she came at them and they just like vaporized her right away, like, okay, let's go, kids. Like up in the attic, I guess, or somewhere.
Yeah. I don't even think hiding at that point would work. Some craft lands by your house, you're like, get in the closet.
Yeah. Like, so just run. Yeah.
Yeah. They break into the house. We can't see him. He must not be here.
Yeah. Just under the bed. Yeah. Very toddler style.
You just see their alien feet,
yeah.
right?
Like, yeah, just no one stick a leg or an arm out. They won't know we're here.
Oh my goodness. I got a good recommendation from my brother for a show that I have to watch. Were you ever into Star Trek?
Not really.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Apparently the new Star Trek called Discovery is really good.
Okay.
So I might take a look at that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never got, I don't know why. Like, I like sci-fi stuff, but never Star Trek.
No? How'd you get into comic books?
Oh, just when I was a kid. Like,
Yeah?
just-
Was it always, I don't want to say obscure, but is it Namor?
Namor. Yeah.
Namor's pretty obscure, right?
Yes, very. Yeah. But
Why-
it's crazy because he was like, he's the original mutant. He was one of Marvel's, like, he was created in 1939. He's been around forever. He's been an X-Man. He's been an Avenger. Like, he's been part of everything. He's been part of everybody's story arcs, but, like, nobody knows who he is. And now that they made the Aquaman movie, they'll probably never make a Namor movie. He's pretty much the original Aquaman.
Oh, okay.
And he's like an anti-hero, so he's even better. He's
What
not
made
like a
you
little
guys
do-gooder.
pick him as your
Because
top?
he went through the arc of everything, so we were like, let's try to find a character where we could start at the beginning and then work our way up to present day. And through that, like, he like was a Defender one, so he was on a team with like Iron Man and the Hulk and like Doctor Strange. So he's just been a part of everything. So we were like, oh, if we pick this character, we get to go through all the big stories that ever happened. So it would just be way more fun. And nobody knew him, so there was no podcast about him or anything.
Had you guys read about him before?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, just being comic fans, you come across him, but
So you had to do a lot more research probably, right?
yeah. And there's like, I mean, literally because he's been around since 1939. So like there's a ton of stuff to read.
Are they still releasing?
Yeah, he's still one of the like bigger characters. Like in
Really?
current comic books, he's in, I think, 2 of the major arcs right now.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty much setting up to where he is going to try to fight the Avengers because he is tired of how people on land treat the oceans. So he's just going to kill everybody on land, which is common. Like, that's what he does. He's becomes this weird, like, environmental crusader who just thinks, like, people on land just dump all their garbage and sewage into the ocean, and, like, 75% of the planet is ocean. So, like, we are the majority. So we're just going to kill everyone on land, and then the majority can live in peace.
Interesting. Okay. So do you have to stay current with it? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you buy all the new releases
I
of
read
it
an insane amount of comic books.
because of your podcast?
No, just because just being an artist, and then I like reading a lot, and it's just, like, I always hate that, or not hate, but feel weird for people that kind of dismiss comic books where, like, we have these movies and everybody watches them and they love them, and like TV shows people love, and you could say like, oh, I watched this show, and no one's like, oh, you weirdo, like that's just for kids. But if you say like, I read comic books, people kind of give you that look. But then like in comic books, you can do anything. So it's just like the best TV shows or the best anything, because there's no limits to what you could do. Like you can have aliens, you could have a whole like underwater planet and all this stuff, and it's just drawn beautifully. The writing is amazing. Like there's a Ta-Nehisi Coates, if you know who he is. He's a writer for Captain America and Black Panther, and he is like an award-winning writer and like very like well-known like author, and he writes for comic books. And
Do you think that comic books are becoming like more accepted and popular
'cause
now?
I think now with
Kinda
like
seems
all the
like it.
movies coming out, and like everyone, you can go to any mall now and people are going to have like Marvel and Batman and Superman shirts on, and it seems like okay now to say like, oh, I like superheroes, where, 20 years ago people would laugh at you and,
You're
nerd
like,
culture became
yeah,
the main culture.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's the biggest moneymaker. Everybody knows these characters.
Yeah. I remember when I was in school, I didn't like reading, but I was really into comic books on the other side. Like I was into like Archie
Oh,
and
right.
the Mickey Mouse ones, Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes. Obsessed with Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
And at that time, I remember my teacher saying, you can't read this in class. And my mom went to bat for me and
Right.
was like, let's sit down, let's look at this, let's count how many words he's reading on each page. Like he's getting fluency,
Right.
comprehension, all that. So my mom kind of fought for it. I thought it was, pretty awesome. And then just 4 or 5 years ago, they started coming out with like graphic novels that were popular in
Right.
school. So you had like Diary of a Wimpy Kid,
Yep. Oh my God, my kid loves those.
Captain Underpants. I went to my my daughter's book fair last week, and there's like shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves of graphic novels. Like it's so popular now. I think it's great.
Yep.
Because for the kids that like don't want to like read or don't find it very interesting, like you're gonna read just as much reading
Right.
a comic book.
Yeah.
You're just into it because of the colors or the pictures or all of it together.
Yep. Yeah.
Does Liam read comic books?
Not comic books so much, but he does love like Diary of a Wimpy Kid and like Captain Underpants and stuff like that.
All those graphic novels, right?
Yep.
What would you say is the main difference between a comic book and a graphic novel then?
I think kind of the stories behind the comic books, because they tend to arc a little longer. I kind of view it as like how, like kind of like Greek or Roman kind of stories, how there was a lot of just like, there's a big, like the hero has to go through a giant struggle and there's like trials and tribulations and, like the pretty basic like 3-act structure of like, here's the build up, here's the like trial, and there was kind of a mistake, and then how you learn from the mistakes and how you like benefit everybody by what you've learned.
Yeah.
So, which probably does happen in like Captain Underpants and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but it seems that the structure in comic books, there's a lot more like kind of blending of characters and more interaction on a deeper level.
Okay.
Yeah. So I view it very, like I said, very much like kind of the old like Roman stories.
Is there resolution to every comic book?
Mhm.
Oh, there is.
I mean, there's resolutions to the arcs. Like comic books tend to go in like a 5-issue arc, but then that arc will be part of a larger story. So like how people saw like the Civil War, that movie, that was actually a run of, I think it's 26 comic books, but it varied over, I think there was maybe like 17 titles involved. So theoretically there's about like, a couple hundred comic books that were involved. So you got to see it from like, here's Civil War from like Spider-Man's angle, here's Civil War from Thor's angle. Because if you read Thor through that, you were seeing what was happening from Civil War, but from the Thor
I
storyline.
didn't
So he
know
still
that.
like has his own problems in Asgard and his own problems with like his girlfriend at the time and like his dealings with his brother. But he's also, trying to take a side with Captain America and Iron Man. And so it's kind of interesting in that way, because you get like, unlike a TV show, you can get the perspective of every character in it.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
they did that.
Yeah, so always they'll have like an arc that reaches through all of the comic books, but you're still reading the individual titles. To
Now,
get
when you
all
mean
of
by
the
all,
stories.
by like the publisher, like DC?
Yeah, so say Marvel is doing a big story arc. Like they will have like Spider-Man will be fighting his normal villains, but they'll also have a little aside about like the major arc that's going on in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
Like the big aliens will come and Spider-Man will have to fight with them, but then he still has to fight like Dr. Octopus, and like he still has to run his business. He still has to deal with his wife. Like he's still like, in some of them he has a kid. And so various things like
Okay.
that. So it's very in-depth, and you can kind of choose the characters that you want to follow and how they're doing or faring in this whole big arc.
I didn't know that.
Right. So that's what I think is
That's
pretty
pretty awesome.
Right.
So you could like see it and be like, whoa, I wonder what whoever is doing with this.
Right.
So would you have to start back at the beginning?
No, most of them you can pretty much like jump into as the arc is starting. And they'll
Really?
even have in the back of the comics, it'll say like, check out these titles. And it'll have the whole checklist of like what you should read so that you could
Get a
stay
big-
within the whole arc.
Oh, okay.
Very smart on them, because then you have to buy like 40 comics to understand every piece of the story.
Do you buy all of them
Yeah. Well, I read them all digitally, but yeah.
digitally
Mhm.
on your iPad or yeah? subscription?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have, you can subscribe. There's a thing called Marvel Unlimited, and it's like $90 a year. And then you can read every comic book as it comes out. Well, I think there's like a 3 month. You can't get all the new ones, but after it's been 3 months, they release all those. So you're always a little behind.
90 for a year?
I believe so.
That seems cheap, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That seems really cheap.
And they have the backlog of every comic book. So if you really like Spider-Man, you could go back to Spider-Man 1 and read all 700 issues. Because that's how we did with Namor. We went all the way back to 1939 and read every issue up to the current date.
Wow. That must have taken a long time.
Yeah. And those old ones are dense. It's all writing. It's horrible writing. And it's just everything. There's no they do not expect you to understand the motivation of anybody. Everyone has to say well, now I'm going to go walk down the street and I'm going to go look for Jimmy. Here I go walking, left, right, left, right. It's just everything is explained to you too much. They don't let the art do any of the talking.
Oh, I see.
Where in modern comic books, it's so beautifully done. The art in them is amazing.
Yeah. Wow, you're getting
So
me
I
a
get
little
very,
bit.
very excited about comics.
I can tell. I can tell, man. That's cool.
Mm.
You read them every day?
Yeah.
Yeah? You have to stay up,
Yeah,
or you just
because
want
they
to?
release I read everything that Marvel and Image puts out, and Marvel puts out about, I'd say 35 comics a week, and Image puts out probably about 20. So there's about 50 titles a week that I read.
Wow. How do you find all the free time to do this?
Go to the bathroom, and I pace my house reading, which drives everybody in my house crazy. Because I just train for ultramarathon. So I spend a lot of time on the treadmill. And with my iPad, I can just kind of put it up there. And that's the nice thing about reading digitally, too, is I can zoom. So while I'm running and kind of bouncing back and forth, I can still read everything. Or I just walk around my house holding my iPad.
Do you really?
Mm-hmm. I pace an insane amount.
Really? You can't just sit still and enjoy it? No?
Nope. I even, while I play video games, run on my treadmill. I can't. It drives my wife nuts because I can't sit still. My daughter is the same way. So
Yeah?
she just has to live in this house of two people that are constantly moving. Yeah. We have couches downstairs, and since we've lived in our house a year, I've probably sat on our couches for a total of about 6 hours, I would guess.
No kidding.
The other night, my wife and I watched a movie on the couch, and it was driving me nuts. I had to quit 2 times the movie to go up and walk around.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How do you do it while you're tattooing?
That, I think, because it's using that part of my brain that's art that I can sit. Because I can sit and paint and be fine. But when it's something kind of more passive, especially watching TV, I can't just sit and watch TV. Or even video games, I feel I think where... Yeah, I just have to be moving. The video games thing may be where I feel guilty that I'm just wasting my time.
Okay.
So if I feel like I'm on the treadmill, then at least I'm kind of working out and achieving a goal.
Okay.
And not just burning time.
Yeah.
Time's so precious and everything. And yeah. And then, yeah, with the reading, I've always kind of read and walked. I read so much as a kid, and I had to walk to the bus stop a lot or just walk around. So I would kind of just keep a book with me at all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still bring my e-reader with me everywhere, and still like to read a lot.
Really? You have an e-reader and an iPad?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I like the Kindle e-reader.
Yeah.
I think it just looks better. It's less of a strain on my eyes, but I like how comics look on my iPad the best.
Oh, that would make sense. Is your e-reader only black and white?
Yeah, it's one of those paper whites.
Yeah.
So it kind of replicates paper.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it has the backlight so I can read it in the dark.
Oh,
too.
okay.
And as I go from room to room, it kind of changes tone too, so it kind of stays the same.
Oh,
I like it a lot.
interesting. Do you ever buy paper comics?
Yeah, for some of them. If the art in them is amazing, then I buy a lot of trade paperbacks. So they collect 5, like I said, most arcs are 5 issues.
Okay.
So trade paperbacks, they put 5 issues together that complete the arc, and you can buy them on Amazon for $7. So I probably have 300 or 400 trade paperbacks. And then I have an insane amount of long boxes, which are the long boxes that comics are stored in, of just an insane amount of comics.
Saving them?
I guess, yeah. Some of them I just, I go to conventions and I really like the art or I like the cover, or, then you get completist about things and you're like, well, I have all, these 300 issues. I'm just missing these 4, so you got to complete that. And then you have to, get the build up to this one character. And like I was saying, there's so many side arcs, so... then you have to complete that to get the whole story.
Yeah, I would imagine if you go about it digitally that it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I'm only missing 4.
Mhm.
There, got him.
Right. And it probably harkens back to with the having the actual paper ones of just when you're a kid, you know, like it's that like the smell of the ink on it and like the browning of the paper. And it's
Yeah,
very
for sure.
a
Turning
good
the
aesthetic thing.
page.
Yeah. Because it brings every time I like open a comic, it brings back that like, you know, when you're in junior high and you just get the comic and then you just go sit and read, you know.
So cool.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like I'm just like a kid that never grew up very like in that sense. Like,
That's okay. What's
yeah,
the hurry?
right. And I feel like, yeah, I've just never had to. Like, still get to draw for a living.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
I don't really like sitting around either. Man, I'm busy. I'm
Yeah.
always picking up something.
Mm-hmm.
Building a studio
Right.
or built a surfboard shaping bay and
Nice. Yeah, I
shaped
saw
a
that you were
surfboard
making all
for
those.
that.
Yeah.
And yeah, just constantly just doing new things.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Because that's my biggest like thing I hate about life is that it's like I know it'll end and there's just so much stuff from like I want to like learn to play the drums. Like I want to like go hike the Appalachian Trail or the PCT. Like I want to see like, you know, all these different countries and like want to surf and like there's all this stuff and like then you want to know all the big secrets and everything like how was the Big Bang started and like what happens to this universe?
Yeah,
And you're
for
just like,
sure.
man, but then when you realize like it's gonna be a blip, I'm like it's never gonna matter. And,
Just a tiny little blip. Yeah.
yeah, I have this like little blue dot on my thumb. From
Okay.
that Carl Sagan, the pale blue
Yeah.
dot. Yeah, to just always remind me when things seem so stressful. Where I'm like,
You've had that a while, or at
Yeah.
least you had that,
Mhm.
you know, last time I saw you.
Yep. yeah, to just always be like, yeah, I'm just on like a little pale blue dot. Like,
That's it.
suspended on a beam of light.
Yeah.
in a mote in space.
hmm Yeah, if I recommend anything to people, it'd be learn new things.
Yeah.
I think people get so stuck in what they're doing.
Yeah.
I constantly am craving new things. Oh, I wonder what it'd be like to do this.
Mhm.
I want to learn how to make a podcast. I want to make this.
Right.
Like, teach yourself how to do this. You know, guitar is the only thing I can't teach myself how to do. And I have tried so many times,
You
Joe.
both like YouTube and all that?
Oh, I've tried everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten like apps for my phone
Right.
recently. I have 2 acoustic guitars that are sitting there that I keep them out intentionally
Oh,
because I'm
yeah.
like, the second I don't see them, I'm gonna forget that I want to learn. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess I haven't gone to like someone to teach me like lessons.
Right.
That's probably gonna be what's gonna have to do it. But I've wanted to learn how to play guitar forever.
Do you play any musical instruments?
I don't.
Okay, yeah. I
I
feel like
don't.
everyone should learn a musical instrument.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you still play stuff?
Yeah, still play all the time.
Yeah. What do you
I
play?
even have like a guitar and a bass at the shop just because
Yeah.
I'm there so much.
Oh, okay.
And I have a very annoying cat piano that I play.
Cat.
Yeah, it literally like everything like it just goes like meow 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 meow. So I'll play like the Top Gun theme on it or like
Meow,
Christmas
meow,
songs. Just
meow,
yep,
meow, meow, meow.
yep,
Or wait, no, it's Star Wars.
yeah. The Top Gun one is the like meow 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 meow
Oh,
meow
meow, 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 meow.
Right.
I actually know how to play that on the piano. That's
See, there you go.
yeah.
Yeah,
real
so you
basic
can
version
come to the
of
shop and play it on the cat piano and drive Sean crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Do you really play that in the
Uh-huh,
shop?
Yep. Oh yeah, Sean hates it, so got to do it.
Got to do it for Sean. When's he leaving?
June.
Oh, sorry to bring it back to
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna cry.
He visually just went.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been like I put it out of my mind so much. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Yeah,
Oh man.
because like we were talking about with like people like wanting to learn new things. Like when I hear about people that just like hate their job, and I just think like that sucks. Like
Yeah.
that you spend so much of your time at a place that you just hate, and there's just a part of your life that you just shut yourself off and
Yeah.
like hate because of Sean. And just I mean I love my job, but like it's great working with him. Like it's I get to work with my best friend. Like it's so phenomenal. So just the thought that like that part of my life that's been so great, I'm sure will still be great, but it's just changing where it hasn't changed for 10 years. It's just, whole new adventure, and I'm sure it'll all be great. Like with technology, we'll still get to talk all the time, but it'll be weird. I know for a while, like I'll just turn to him and be like, oh, like there's a different guy sitting there. That's weird.
Yeah. How long is this station gonna stay empty?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, monetarily, I'll have to fill it pretty fast.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I would imagine it'll stay empty for a little bit though.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not actually moving until November. He's just quitting tattooing at June. But he'll probably come and like work a little bit here and there. Yeah, it'll be sad.
Can't cut it off cold turkey. He's gonna have to come back.
Yeah,
every once in a while.
exactly. Yep. Yeah, I'll have to come back once a week and then once every 2 weeks. And yeah.
Man, I shouldn't have gone back to Sean.
least-
that
yeah.
brought it to a bummer spot.
Yeah, it happens.
That sucks. I can't end it here now.
Trying to think of a happier. Oh man. So you said you have a new lady, or
I
has she
do
been
have a
with you for
lady.
while?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I've been with.
See, love's always a good topic.
Love is a great topic. Yeah,
I mean,
she's
unless you guys
awesome.
aren't in love, so that.
Oh no,
maybe
we're
push it. Okay.
completely in love.
Good.
Yeah, we live together, and she has
nice.
2 rad kids. And
Nice.
then my 2 kids. That makes the 4 kids.
How old are her kids?
Same age as mine.
That's awesome.
Yeah, in fact, her son just turned 14. No, 13. No. Oh boy, I should know this. Her son just turned 14, and before that, they were 10, 11, 12, 13. Like stair step age.
Right.
So the girls are 10 and 11. My son is 12, and then her son just turned 14. And it's cool because they're like best friends.
Nice.
Yeah, it's super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we met online.
Very cool.
Yeah, which was
like on a site or just?
Yeah, one of the dating sites.
Nice.
I believe it was. I don't know. Okay, Cupid.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of that one, but yeah, met on OK Cupid.
I feel like the majority of people I talk to now meet online.
Really?
Like somehow.
Yeah, it's odd because I know a lot of people that like do it and they hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But how else are you going to meet people?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to go to the bar.
Yeah.
And meet people.
Mm-hmm. And it's just easier. I feel like it's
so much
easier
easier.
communicating that way. Because
Uh-huh.
even when I met my wife, I met her in person at the tattoo shop, but then we became friends on MySpace and like started talking through there, and we talked for like weeks before we actually hung out. And then by the time we hung out, we like
You know a lot about each other.
yeah, we were very comfortable, and there was no like real awkward phase or anything. And
Yeah.
it was just so much easier, to just like sit and just type everything out.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear the stories though that my girl talks about with, the guys on those sites. She's
I
like,
assume being a girl in there is horrible.
yeah. She's like, you would not believe how many inappropriate pictures get sent.
That's what I would guess would be
Yeah.
nonstop, where everything you see that has like the paperclip next to it or shows that has an attachment, you just be like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
This could either be someone's face and it'll be nice, or
Exactly.
their other face and it won't be so nice.
Yes, exactly. She says you just meet someone and then they send that
Right.
surprise. You had some confidence right there.
Yeah.
Like you think you
Yeah.
like me, now you're really gonna
Yeah.
like me.
And I've never met a woman who said like, yeah, that was great. Like, really appreciate that picture of your anatomy.
Yes, that's true.
Really,
Yeah,
that's what I was striving for.
yeah. I was wondering if we were gonna go out. Now we have to go. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't send one of those.
Nice.
If that's
Good
what you're
thinking.
wondering. Yeah, I think I was the first person or second person she actually went out with that she met,
Oh, nice.
which worked out good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd been on a bunch of dates, so I had some good stories for her.
Nice.
Yeah. You meet a lot of crazy people, but that's just dating.
What does she do for work?
Well, she went to school to be an ultrasound tech,
Okay.
and so she was that for a while. But then similar to your job, she was saying so stressful, like it's, you're relying on diagnosing people.
Right.
For, she's like, and if you miss something, so she didn't like that.
Mhm.
She was really, really, really good at it, but it was just so stressful. She didn't
Yeah.
like that. So while she was in school, she was a gymnastics coach, like elite gymnastics
Wow.
coach. So she does that full time now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's meet season, so she's gone all the time. In fact, I heard them get home about 30 minutes ago, and we hardly ever even see each other because
Yeah.
she teaches in the mornings and then teaches at night, and her daughter is an elite gymnast too, so she's kind of getting at the point where she's gonna slowly stop going to school as much.
Right.
Like she'll do more homeschooling type thing because she trains so much. It's pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Like, yeah, jacked, like you were saying when you run,
Mhm.
like that's what she looks like,
She's striving to like do the Olympics, or
Yeah, she's on that track. It's so
Nice.
hard to
Yeah.
to get into the Olympics, but she's on that track for sure. She's probably like I think 3 years ahead of pace.
wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. This year they like go by levels, and this year she had to repeat her level. It goes up to level 10, and she had to repeat level 8, which is the first time she's ever had to repeat. And she's still like ahead of schedule by a couple of
crazy.
years. It is pretty neat.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Level 10, that's like college level gymnastics. And she's only in 5th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I know.
Have you developed like a keen eye for gymnastics now?
I
feel like it's one
appreciate
of those
it so
things
much
where
more.
like if you've done it, then you like can understand it more.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I
Right.
appreciate it way more because, obviously it gets talked about a lot at the house. And it's interesting to see their relationship because, they get along great, but, she's coached 100% of the time.
Right.
I mean, you can see the difference in like when she's mom, but like Avery, that's, my daughter's name, whenever she's, practicing something or even just being silly, it's like, it's perfection or it's nothing.
Right.
Like you're not going to just play around and do cartwheels. You're going to do cartwheels that are perfect
Right.
if you're going to do a cartwheel.
Yeah, because you probably can't have like bad habits getting like,
That's
in
exactly.
there at all.
Well, you would know
Right.
that as a musician. You wouldn't practice wrong,
So do you see a lot of gymnastics now?
I do. I see a lot of gymnastics now. Yeah. They drive all the way to Corona. That's where she trains. It's pretty far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In fact, one of their biggest competitions is in Temecula. They're called Sega. I think it's SCEGA, Southern California, whatever. Who cares? But yeah, they're way into it.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a nice little turnaround, Joe. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It went into a little downer, and yeah, we'll go likewise. How long have you been with your wife?
Oh, we've married 8 years, been together 12, I believe.
I love the post when you post each other. I was just going back on your feed today, and I was looking at the picture of like you're like next to her and you're smiling. You're like, every once in a while she gives me a haircut and cleans me up, and lucky man.
Yeah. I feel, very lucky. She's very good.
2 beautiful kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
I like
daughter's rad, by the way.
Yeah, she's a nutball. Yeah.
She's so cool.
Yeah.
I love when you post about her.
Yeah, she is. Because I do, like, we have a fit club at our school. I don't know if you guys have that, where they meet early and they just kind of run laps and you mark a little dot on their hand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I run that at my school. It's called, we have 100 Mile Club.
Okay, yeah. So they just count laps and then throughout the year we keep it. But I always tell my wife, like, Ariel is crazy and does not stop running. And to the point where, like, the people that write her number down always have to ask her, like, are you counting those right? And now they've just accepted that she just runs the whole time. So we had this, like, obstacle course thing at her school, and she ran the whole thing. And my wife had never seen her run. And I was like, yeah, she is, like, nonstop. She did every obstacle, like, wouldn't even stop for water, ran for a half hour straight.
Do you help run that in the mornings?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We used to do the marks on the hands, and then they have like free apps where if the kids have like a little QR code, they just run by and you boop.
Oh,
boop,
crazy.
And it keeps track.
Okay.
So just
Yeah,
a
we still just do
suggestion
the,
that you
like,
can bring
little
to that.
markers on the hands.
Oh, yeah. It gets a little tricky because then they got to count. And so it's all on the app.
Oh, all right. I'll bring that up.
Yeah. It's free. Super easy too.
Nice.
Yeah. So she gets that from me. She likes running.
Oh, yeah. Because even when I'll pace the house, like, she'll sometimes put on rollerblades and, like, rollerblade around the house with me, or she'll, like, walk around with me.
Do you have a loop that you pace? Oh, my goodness.
I'll even go up and down the stairs sometimes, too, if I want the little extra workout.
While you're reading.
Yep, that's how I'll die.
Is
Falling down the stairs reading a comic book.
Yeah, well, there could be worse ways to die.
Yeah, I'll be on those, like, Darwin Awards or whatever.
Yeah. Does she ever go running with you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I definitely feel like her course into, if she wants to do, like, furthering education, will be through track, because she's incredible. Yeah,
Like cross country?
Yeah.
So she's distance.
Yeah, because I'm amazed how far she will run with me, or, like, every time I say, like, does anyone want to go on a walk? Like, she's always, like, bounces out of her chair and wants to go, and yeah. Where I feel like my wife and son are very similar, where they'll both be content sitting on the couch reading a book for hours and hours, where me and my daughter, like, bug them to death and, like, can't sit still. And, like, we're always, like, wrestling around. Or
How far do you run with her?
I think the most we've gone together is about 4 miles, but she's 5, so it's pretty crazy for a 5-year-old. Yeah, she literally, like, today when we went to the wild animal park, like, my son was complaining about how, like, tired he was, and she was like, we had said at some point, like, well, if you guys want to sit here, like Ariel and I will go because we want to walk up to the tigers. And then they reluctantly came with us, but Ariel, like, she would have gone all day.
She's got some stamina.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. 5 years old, 5 miles. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Is she even sweating?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just making sure she's getting
but she'll
tired.
go on like hikes with me and everything. Like she will not stop.
Oh my. That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
You got a cool relationship with her. You posted that one, I think it was was she looking in a mirror?
Oh, with her hair?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because we normally keep her hair up and we just brushed it and we realized it's so long and thick and giant.
Yeah.
And she was like wearing a princess dress too, so it was just a perfect picture.
It's so cool. It was the first time I'd seen her in so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's a cute little one.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that may be her downfall because everywhere we go, people are just like, oh my gosh, look at you. Aren't you the cutest? And like, it's just red hair and like green eyes and freckles and dimples. So every adult is just like in her face telling her how beautiful and great she is. So I'm scared she'll be a little overconfident.
You guys will keep her humble. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's all right. She needs a little in.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone deserves that.
Yeah.
Especially, thank God she didn't get your looks, right?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Just poking fun. Thanks for checking in, guys. I had a great time hanging out with Joe. He's amazing, and I'm sure you guys could tell that he knows a whole lot about art, and he's been in the industry for a long time. And again, if you guys are looking for a killer tattoo, you got to drop into Sea Hag Tattoo. They're in Temecula, California. Joe is the owner. Let him know that you guys heard him on the podcast. I'm sure he would appreciate that. He's just like, you couldn't meet a nicer guy. Just so awesome. So I really appreciate Joe coming in today. Had a great time. Thanks for all the reviews. I've been getting a bunch of new reviews on Apple Podcasts. So if that's you guys, thank you very much for that. And I appreciate the time that you guys are taking for the show to get out there and show a little bit of love. So that's really cool. Getting a lot of PMs asking for if Mr. Granati, Thomas Granati, is going to be coming back on the show. I'm sure he's going to love to hear that. So might be scheduling that guy back in here. I think that episode of Ask the Principal went over pretty big. So we might do something like that. If you guys have any other questions, maybe there's something else in teaching that you're curious about. Maybe you want to know about classroom management. Maybe you want to know about, curriculum instruction or curriculum writing or planning. Hit me up. Let me know what you guys are interested in, and I could put something together for you. It'd be my pleasure. I'd love to do that for you. So you guys can PM me. You can, on any of the social media, feel free to email. It's brian@thelazyteacherpodcast.com, and we can get to you like that. So appreciate all you guys' love and support that you guys are showing. Make sure if you're on YouTube that you guys are hitting subscribe and commenting all below, and we can keep this train a-rolling and a-rolling. And that's it, guys. Really, I had a great time hanging out with Joe. He's awesome. It's Sea Hag Tattoo in Temecula. Check him out for sure. That's it, guys. That is the absolute tail end of the show. I hope you got what you came for. See ya!